You're in the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio. And now, here's Gene Steinberg.
You know, I have something unique to offer our listeners on the Paracast this week. Some unique or almost unique things. Number one, in terms of uniqueness, is the fact that Chris, rather than being somewhere else, and that's an old Abbott and Costello joke, by the way, somewhere else, where I can prove you're somewhere else, he is actually right here, about 12 feet from me, in our studio.
Well, more like 5 feet, but who's counting?
I wish you were 12 feet away. The only thing is, if you go any farther back, you'll hit the file cabinet, and if you go even farther back, you'll go through the wall. Now, I understand they do that with UFO abductions. So,
yes, they do.
We have someone who, when we last interviewed him back in 2009, he was a documentary filmmaker. He had a film called I Know What I Saw, James Fox. But now, James Fox, you are an honest-to-goodness superhero?
Yeah, my superhero powers haven't quite yet been revealed. That's coming in the second season. So it's still classified top secret, but yeah, it's going to be quite a show.
Yeah, but you're still able to leap tall fences in a single bound. So,
do you know that I actually held the record in my county for 10 years on a long jump? So in some respects, I am a superhero. I jumped 15 and a half feet. The first jump I ever did when I was 15 years old. I held the record in Marin County for 10 years.
Wow.
Pretty impressive, don't you think?
Do you realize that as you get over 50 or something, your powers will come to the fore? You'll be able to leap tall buildings in a single bound?
I'm looking forward to it.
Right. Now, this utility belt that you're wearing, there are secret weapons and things that you guys are wearing over there on Chasing UFOs? This is a dumb question, I know, but I really want to know.
No. It's totally a proper question. And what's something I actually pushed for the first season didn't get, but it looks like it's fairly promising for the second season, and that's an AK-47.
Are we serious?
So look out. G.I. James is coming at you.
No, I have a quick question. Is Ryder married?
You know, in my pursuit of truth.
He didn't answer that.
She's pretty hot.
I'm going to have some fun with it, too.
Right. What does your girlfriend think about Aaron Ryder?
You know, I don't think they have met. I don't know. I don't think they've met.
Right. Well, you people are there 24/7 with each other, and of course, rumors can arise. Maybe someone will send a tweet out about this. You know, because
I highly doubt it.
Seriously. Okay. James Fox got himself mixed up with a National Geographic TV show called Chasing UFOs. It's getting major publicity. And by the time you hear the show, neighbors, you will have seen, of course, the first couple of episodes. And we'll go into what's in those episodes, but let's do some background stuff first. Part of that publicity campaign is a survey from National Geographic about UFO belief in the United States. Now, can we go over this briefly, James?
Oh, please.
Okay, so let me just read you some of the stats, but I also have a survey from 15 years ago, and I think you want to see the contrast.
I'm very curious to hear about that.
Yeah. So, they took a survey back in like 1947, and then maybe 80 or 90% of the people did not believe in UFOs. But according to a story all over the world now, 80 million people, if the survey is applied to the entire USA, believe that UFOs exist, which is what, about a third of the population?
Just about.
Okay. And a tenth believe they spotted one.
Well, it's 30 million people.
You wonder at that percentage how many people actually spotted one.
Well, I guess anybody who sees a strange light in the sky could say, I saw a UFO.
And have.
Fast question here about this. This survey, is this done like a Gallup poll where you do a scientifically selected sampling and everything?
You know, I have all the details of that survey. They actually hired an outside company to do it, and they just select at random from what I understand. You know, just like any other survey, I would imagine, they don't actually speak to 80 million people. You know, they do a random sort of...
So it's usually like 500, 1,000, 1,500, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it was like 1,400 people, or something, 1,400 or 1,700 people. I'd have to look at the stats on that, but that's what I think they did.
That sounds like a pretty substantial sampling. But now there are more interesting things here, and I want to go over it. Of course, one of the things we've talked about frequently on the Paracast is the legend of the Men in Black. Okay, so looking at the survey here, We have the Men in Black. Supposedly they go to people who have seen UFOs or had other paranormal encounters, and they say, don't talk about it. Shut up. Okay. We understand that. Some people believe they're from the military, some an intelligence agency, some maybe extraterrestrial. We don't know. But according to this survey, and this is interesting here, 55% of Americans believe that Men in Black type agents threaten people who report UFOs. So what do you take that with, Jim?
Well, it's interesting because, obviously the whole Men in Black has got lots of baggage from, the very successful blockbuster hit Men in Black. And I never really thought a whole lot of it, but however, I have stumbled upon a couple of cases, either through direct contact with witnesses or, archive interviews going back as far as, the McMinnville, Oregon case, the Mr. and Mrs. Trent. And she said that, a gentleman from an unknown sort of government agency was harassing her and ransacked her home. I've been recently in touch with a woman who's had extensive investigations on the Rex Heflin photographs from 1965, Santa Ana, California. And he reported harassment by a similar style organization. I guess they said they were from someplace. It turns out they weren't. They took the original Polaroids that he shot, and those disappeared for like 30 or 35 years. And then there was the 1997 case when I was researching the Phoenix Lights. There was a former Vietnam vet that was up on his roof trying to get a glimpse of the Hale-Bopp comet, and he had his scanners out, and he heard truck drivers talking about this massive UFO that was headed his way. So he set his camera on it and apparently got some very impressive footage. And you familiar with Frances Barwood, former city councilwoman from the Phoenix Lights case?
Yeah.
Well, he was in touch with her. They made arrangements for him to drop this footage off at her office.
Just to let you know,
And
we are
according to
probably right now, James, maybe minutes from where she lives because we're in Phoenix.
Oh, wow. Well, anyway, so this guy calls her up and he says, hey, I've got this phenomenal footage. Are you interested? She said, of course I am. And they made arrangements. He was going to drop it off her office. And I'm not sure if it was that evening or the next day. This car pulls up, two men in black suits. He said they were quite menacing, arrived to pick up. They said they were from Frances Barwood's office there to pick up the footage. He said that he was relieved that that's all they wanted. They asked if there were any copies. He said no. They took the footage and left. And so Frances never hears from him. He never hears from Frances. I don't know how much time goes by, but maybe 5 days. He calls her and he says, well, what'd you think? She said, well, I don't know. You never came by to drop the footage off. And he said, well you had two men from your office show up at my house. She said, I didn't send anybody over.
It sounds like almost a movie-type scenario.
Almost like a movie-type scenario. So there's been a number of these cases where, these mysterious men, most of the time in suits, certainly all the ones that I've heard, show up and quite menacing. I mean, even the Robert Jacobs from the Vandenberg Air Force launch, I think it was 1964, said that there were two men in suits. Remember that case?
Well, of course, I'm a little older than you are, but I have to say I do remember some of these things. I don't want to admit it anymore.
Sorry. Well, you had the launch of an Atlas rocket at Vandenberg Air Force Base, and they were filming it with a high-powered telescope camera to capture all three stages of powered flight. And, at one point, this disc-shaped object comes into view and shoots the beam of light, blah, 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 and he captures the whole thing on film. And
we'll get to where it went next in a moment. James Fox joining us with Gene and Chris. You're in
the Paracast.
If you want to get your website online and you need reliable service, first-class service at the lowest possible price, there's only one place to go. Well, DreamHost has a special promotion with our show where they'll offer you unlimited disk space, unlimited bandwidth, one-click web apps such as WordPress, 24/7 support. You can save over $55. You want to know how? Go to dreamhost.com/radio, dreamhost.com/radio.
Fate magazine provides true reports of the strange and unknown. Keep up with the latest on angels and miracles, psychic phenomena, ghosts, UFOs, life after death, and much, much more. To receive your free issue of Fate magazine, call now at 1-800-728-2730 or visit their website at www.fatemag.com. That's 1-800-728-2730. What are you waiting for? Your fate awaits.
We all know that Berkey Water Purification Systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey Water Filtration Systems. The Berkey Light Systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light System today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at goberkey.com. That's goberkey.com today.
Attention business owners and individuals who owe the IRS. Do you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes? You need aggressive representation. Call Certified Tax now and speak to one of our tax attorneys, enrolled agents, or tax professionals who specialize in tax liens, back taxes, tax debt, wage garnishment, and collections. We won't waste your time. Instead, we'll be on the phone with the IRS within 30 minutes of you becoming a client. And you can become a client right now. We've settled millions of dollars in tax issues for a fraction of the cost. Find the peace of mind knowing the IRS will not be knocking at your door. Protect your home, business, and family today. We know the tax laws, and we act fast. Call today for your free, no-obligation consultation. 1-800-685-9751. Remember, we'll be on the phone with the IRS within 30 minutes of you becoming a client. That's guaranteed. Call Certified Tax at 800-685-9751. That's 800-685-9751. Again, 800-685-9751.
You don't need to be a bodybuilder to benefit from whey protein. Besides building muscle, whey protein supports glutathione production, your body's #1 antioxidant and detoxifier, helps with weight loss, and may help with strength, energy, youthful appearance, and a healthier libido. Why is it that no one is reporting these broad-spectrum benefits from typical whey protein powders? Because all but one of them are damaged by heat, filtration, or chemicals. Fresh liquid whey has been used for hundreds of years to restore health to the sick and youth to the aged. One World Whey is a brand new protein powder that retains the broad-spectrum health-giving benefits of fresh raw whey. Hundreds of people have reported tremendous improvements in all aspects of health. Kids and adults love the flavor and the effects. Call 888-988-3325. Mention coupon code KNOCKOUT and you'll receive a free tube of Knockout Pain Cream with your order, which eliminates soft tissue pain in 10 minutes for 90% of users. Call 888-988-3325 or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworldwhey.com.
We'd like to hear from you. If you have a comment or question about the Paracast, send it to news@theparacast.com. That's news@theparacast.com. And if you'd like to catch up on past episodes, we have hundreds of shows for you to download direct from theparacast.com. That's theparacast.com. Or check us out at iTunes.
We have James Fox. He's one of the 3 participants of a new TV series for National Geographic called Chasing UFOs. And he's joined by the skeptic, Ben McGee, and the very hot Aaron Ryder, who's there for tech and reconnaissance. Okay.
I'd like to recon her tech. No, she's pretty hot. And James, I must say, I really enjoyed watching the the first episode of the show. It was quite a bit better than I was expecting. The trailers leading up to the show leave a little bit to be desired, and I think they're exciting and all that, but they really do kind of make you guys look a little ridiculous. Sure.
Yeah, well, everybody at the production company, because, the trailer was done by Nat Geo. The production company actually produced the series.
Right.
And, while, you have to create these episodes, keeping in mind that, people want to be entertained and it wants to be this sense of adventure, but we really want to do as much credible and solid witness and evidence as possible. And when Nat Geo suggested shooting this promo, it sort of caught us all off guard, and we didn't really have a whole lot of say-so in the matter, and it just happened rather quickly. And it came out, and we thought, wow, what was that?
Now that we're on that subject.
All across the country called me up, and they just laughed. That's all they could do. They didn't even tell them, they just laughed. They're like, this is the funniest thing ever. So we were all quite taken back by that. But hey, National Geographic, they've done their homework, and they seem to know what it takes to stimulate some excitement and viewership. And I guess that's what it takes, and hey, that's what it takes. But it certainly wasn't something that we would have thought up.
I'll tell you what, I wanted to get back to what he was telling us before we did the break, though. He was talking to us about Men in Black, and then we can go more into the show. Because we were
basically, Robert Jacobs basically said that he was called in by Florence J. Mansman. I guess he was the ranking officer in charge. I think it was the next day or the following day after that. They had a little room set up and a projector. I don't remember if it was 16-millimeter film footage or 35-millimeter film footage, but in either case,
except for big movie studios, it was probably 16 or even 8.
Probably 16, yeah, probably 16. So anyway, there was the film from the day before, or the 2 days before, from the launch at Vandenberg of this Atlas rocket, and he was ordered to sit down, and they hit play on the machine, and there was the launch from a couple days earlier. It was looking great, and suddenly, as I said earlier, this disc-shaped object enters frame, and it circles the dummy warhead and shoots beams of light at it, and it tumbles out of the sky. And they pressed stop, and they turned to him and said, "What was that?" And he said, "Looks to me like we got a UFO." And these guys in suits cut that bit of footage. This is according to Robert Jacobs. Cut that portion of film footage out, and it was never seen or heard from again. Men in Black? I don't know. You tell me.
Well, we've done several shows on it, and I'm still not sure that I know what to say about the Men in Black. Now, there's a couple other things that are interesting about the survey, but the one thing that was really provocative in a sense is, would President Barack Obama or Mitt Romney, the challenger, handle an alien invasion better? And Obama won 65% of the contest. Is that because maybe they thought he'd send drones out to kill E.T.?
Your guess is as good as mine on that one. I mean, perhaps they think he's got a cool temperament. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Well, it might be that. I mean, he has his credentials. He got rid of bin Laden, so I guess they figure he can get rid of E.T. Let me give you some information here you probably don't know, and I'm not going to hold you to it here. But we see the survey, about a third of the people in the United States believe in UFOs in 2012. Back in 1996, from George magazine, based on a survey, they decided that 74% believed in U.S. government was involved in cover-ups.
What was the percentage?
74% believed the U.S. government was currently involved in cover-ups.
74% in 1970 what?
1996.
Oh, sorry, 1996, 74% of the American population believed that there was a government cover-up regarding UFOs.
Right. Now, Newsweek poll, 1996, 48% believe UFOs are real. 48%. 1997 Gallup, 48% again. So it looks like the number of people who believe in UFOs has gone down. Now, Life magazine, let me see, what they say is that 49%, this is in 2000, 49% believed the U.S. was withholding information about UFOs. 49%. So in that poll, it's the downward trend. 43% believed they were real. So what I'm seeing here is that over the years, we've reached kind of a peak. Half the people believe in UFOs. Now it's down to a third. Or maybe it's because people are really more concerned about their lives and not so much about UFOs, and they don't consider it. Is that part of it?
Maybe the population's just doubling so quickly that those younger generation has yet to be exposed to some of this good material.
That's a topic we've gone through sometimes in discussions in our forums, why younger people aren't interested. And now let's get to the nuts and bolts of the show here a little bit. And that is, with Chasing UFOs, do you think the way you have it set up here, a lot of action, trying to build a lot of action, quick cuts, everything like that, trying to get younger people intrigued by the subject?
They are definitely going for that demographic, no question about it. And, I've produced, directed, and shot 3 films prior to this, which I'm quite proud of. However, they didn't rate that well. I thought I Know What I Saw was going to be ahead of the park. I really did. Granted, we didn't do a whole lot of promotional stuff for it with the History Channel, and it did okay. The numbers were okay, which I was rather disappointed about. This is not generally a format that I adhere to. However, television is changing. People are growing accustomed to these rapid cuts. People's attention spans are diminishing, and it's unfortunate, but it's just kind of the way it seems to be going. So I've tried a number of platforms prior to this, and there's future platforms that I will continue to try as well. And this is just one of them, A lot of people in the UFO community are like, oh, God, James sold himself out. Well, in some respects, you could say that. But in other respects, this production was going on with or without my participation. I mean, it was a green light. And I really feel like I brought a lot of good stuff to the table and will continue to do so. Would I like to have a little more control in post-production? You're damn right I would. But I'm not the expert in what seems to sell good TV these days. It's amazing for me to have the opportunity. Having said that, it's amazing for me to have the opportunity of someone who's been an independent, filmmaker doing things on a shoestring budget, to have the level of support and backing of an organization like National Geographic. And I think that there's a fine balance of good content and entertainment, and that fine balance is what I'm trying to help encourage to find. Do you know what I mean?
We have James Fox. He's one of the 3 people who appear in the new National Geographic TV series called Chasing UFOs that premiered on the 29th of June. So many of you neighbors have seen it already. We'll get back with more with James Fox. We have Gene and Chris because you're in
the Paracast.
The GCN Radio Network, providing the world with hard-hitting talk radio. GCN. Great talk radio starts here.
We also have swag. We have all these exclusive Paracast things that you can buy. We've got 60 or so different items, and entails T-shirts, sleeves for notebook computers, iPad cases, mouse pads, the Paracast Jumbo tote bag, all sorts of T-shirts and jackets and stuff like that for men and women. We have a Paracast aluminum water bottle. All this stuff, you go to store.theparacast.com, store.theparacast.com. What makes it special is that the items are the best quality, great T-shirts, fabrics, and they have our official logo on them. That's what makes them special, in multiple sizes and colors. We even have stuff for children, stuff for women, stuff for men. We have all sorts of sizes, like small up to X large. A lot of good stuff. That's the swag from the Paracast. You go to store.theparacast.com, stop by, and take a shopping tour.
For a long time, you've heard me talk about building your own food supply with eFoods Direct. As a listener, you know why you need to have a supply of the best storable food on the planet. Every day, we document the attempts to take control of our lives. But there's one thing we can all control, your greatest dependency, food. eFoods Direct products are made with only the best ingredients and none of the trash and contaminants like trans fats, GMOs, or MSG. This food is nutrient dense and tastes great. It's simple to make, portable, and has a shelf life of up to 25 years. Now with eFoods Direct, you'll get the most affordable, best tasting food you can buy. And the new products and pricing will blow you away. Compared to other food sources, including home-cooked meals, you can cut your food cost in half. You just can't afford to ignore this. Call 800-409-5633 or go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex for specials. Don't let this offer pass you by. Call 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex. More of the best for less, guaranteed.
If you owe money to the IRS, you can't make the problem go away by yourself. But with the help of Dan Pilla, you can get your problem solved once and for all.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. For 30 years, I've helped thousands of people solve their tax debt problem, and I can help you solve yours too. We take a very simple but proven 3-step approach to solving your problem. First, we stabilize IRS collection actions so you don't have to worry about the IRS seizing your bank account or paycheck. Next, we build a comprehensive plan to get your tax debt reduced to the fullest extent possible, sometimes even completely eliminated. And finally, we work with you every step of the way to get your problem solved once and for all. Call us for a free consultation. Call 1-800-346-6829. We'll work together to get your problem solved, guaranteed.
Dan Pilla has been protecting taxpayers from the IRS for 3 decades, and he can help you too. Call us today at 800-346-6829. That's 800-34-NO-TAX.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
ASAP what? What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Visit GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible.
This is Jacques Vallée. You're listening to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio.
With Gene and Chris on the Paracast, James Fox, after 3 years, returns to tell us about his involvement with the new National Geographic show called Chasing UFOs. Now, James, as you know, some of those previous UFO reality shows have gotten a bit of a bad rap, like one in which a certain publisher of a UFO-oriented magazine who wears a hat all the time.
Who might that be?
Certain person who, shall we say, was co-author of a book.
Starts with a B, ends with a B?
Well, I think that's it, yeah. But we know, for example, Chris was interviewed on that show, and they moved the entire location of what he was talking about from San Luis Valley to Sedona, Arizona, which is an amazing feat of geographic expertise or manipulation or science fiction.
Yeah, that was rough, which leads me to a question about how much involvement you actually have in selecting the cases that you're going to be presenting on the show. And if you're not involved, who exactly is making these selections, and what sort of process, to your knowledge, do they have in place to go out and actually send you guys around to particular locations to study particular cases? How does that work?
Well, what we did this time around is I was involved in the research sort of pre-production quite extensively, and I picked a lot of, like, for instance, in Arizona, I picked Travis Walton. I contacted him and decided, hey, what hasn't been done with your case? What would you like to do? And he talked about, revisiting the actual site and taking a look at some of the abnormal growth ring patterns with the tree rings, and specifically at Ground Zero. I'd never really had the manpower or the financial backing to do something like that, so I proposed doing that idea. What they wanted as a production company, because I guess the viewers kind of love this, is we take it on kind of like an adventure, a trip, a traveling adventure of uncovering things and moving to different locations and doing all that. So, a lot of times what would happen is I'd say, hey, I really want to go to Snowflake, Arizona, meet with Travis Walton, possibly some of the other witnesses, and go up to the site and revisit the site and do the application of some new science to determine whether or not indeed that spaceship did in fact affect the plant life around that area, which is a great opportunity. But it wasn't just about going there for that case. It's like, all right, well, what other kind of activity do we have in Arizona? You know, we're talking about, of course, we can't go there without mentioning the Phoenix Lights. There's other people that shot some videos that were rather interesting. So it's like you have this sort of sense of adventure and you string the whole thing together. That I had nothing to do with. But some of the cases I brought to the table, like, for instance, I said, hey, we should go check out see what Open Minds is up to. We should go and revisit the Travis Walton case. And then in terms of, like, and that's what I'd said to you guys earlier, is like, well, I would have liked to have had more control in post. Unfortunately, I didn't have that. I did have some level of oversight in terms of the people that I brought personally to the table for accuracy, you know, and I screened to the best of my ability that stuff prior to being locked. But, you know, like, I really pushed hard for Varginha, Brazil, you know, the 1996 case, because very few Americans know about the Roswell of Brazil, you know.
We've mentioned it on the Paracast. We've had a couple of shows on that because we've had the key A.J. Guevara, the key Brazilian investigator, who would have been a great interview. He's just a really fun person. He would have been a great interview.
Absolutely. We interviewed him in Brazil. Matter of fact, I have one of our translators that's visiting with me now that was in Sao Paulo. Actually, he traveled to Varginha with us. He actually went a week in advance and helped locate witnesses, that sort of thing. So, you know, I pushed hard for the Varginha case. You know?
How about Kalara? Did you visit that?
I wanted to do that. That's an amazing case. You know, I think that took place in the 70s. But, you know, geographically, it was just all the way on the other side of Brazil. It was really difficult to coordinate. We only have a week to shoot a full episode. That's a lot of shooting. And the amount of effort it takes, manpower, to shuffle all the gear and all the people around. I've never worked with this structure. I mean, it's not just like pick up your camera bag and jump on an airplane.
How many people in the crew?
You should see the level. Well, it depends. You know, when we get there, we usually meet up with at least 3, 4, 5 people. You know, we have translators, coordinators, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big production. It's amazing, actually, what it takes. But unfortunately, that seems to be what's happening today now in reality television, is that the budgets have gone down. You don't have the time frame that one used to have to produce a 1-hour show. You know, you've got a week. And it's very challenging, but that's to get the competitive edge. That's what's happening in the TV world today, you know.
Scripted series also, James. Scripted series, they also have the constraints where, you know, you got to film the thing, in about a week? And it's got to be almost motion picture quality?
It's insane. I mean, the amount of effort that goes into it, the amount of man hours, the amount of filming hours. I mean, it was full tilt boogie. We barely got a chance to just enjoy all these different places that we went to, because it was just, you know, full on. And that's another thing, is it's like, you know, if the show does well, hopefully it will. I hope so. I'd like to have more control in the future of this stuff. I understand how things are working a little better now, but and you know, if the show does well, you have a slightly larger budget, you have a little bit more time, a little more wiggle room. There's so many factors involved with this stuff, but you know, the fact is that reality TV these days, there's a lot of pressure on the executives to produce, you know, a lot within a very small time frame with a small budget. So that's just kind of what's happening. You know what I mean?
Is there a tendency here, or is any pressure on the part of the producers, and you may not want to answer this question, but certainly it's out there, to telegraph or hype specific elements of a story in order to get the audience?
You know, in terms of like the straight interviews, I don't think so. But in terms of, like, you know, night investigations and going out, yeah, there's tremendous pressure, you know, and sometimes, you know, we should be spending a week out into the night sky when we only have one night, you know, or maybe 2 nights.
Well, that first episode, you sure lucked out on the one night you were out. Although we did.
We got lucky twice.
I didn't see the
Ryder filmed something that Ben was unable to debunk at all, which is pretty unusual, because he's a very bright guy, and he's always constantly looking for a sort of a trustful explanation. Not to say that those will always apply for all the video footage and photographic evidence out there, but it's certainly in some cases I was fairly impressed with at least an attempt to explain some stuff, and he was pretty much speechless on that one. I don't know. That was really strange.
We should give the background of this. This is the first episode, which is on the 29th of June. Of course, it'll be repeated. It usually is with cable TV. And this particular episode, they cover the Stephenville, Texas case of several years ago. And, in fact, the title of the episode is Texas is for Sightings. And you guys go there. And what you did, which I thought was interesting, is you have kind of a town hall where you invite the locals to come in and to report what happened to them. I thought that was a good way to build a lot of information real quick.
That was really cool. That was something that I'd mentioned that had happened the first time I went there in 2008, because I was actually filming some pickup shoots for I Know What I Saw, and I just happened to have a crew with me in Phoenix, and it was early January of 2008, and suddenly I got a phone call about this massive sighting in Stephenville, and so I just so happened we were going to fly to O'Hare and investigate the O'Hare case. We canceled that trip, went straight to Stephenville, and there was this massive town hall meeting. Like, all these people showed up. It was amazing. Steve Hudgens was there at the head of MUFON, and it was packed. I mentioned that to them, and I thought, well, that's a good idea. Maybe we should consider trying to put something like that together. And we weren't sure if anyone was going to show up, and the place was, like, for the better part, packed. It was amazing. And to my surprise, the town hall meeting was nearly packed, and it was on a Sunday, and I think it was coming up before the Christmas holiday, so it was amazing.
What's amazing is enjoying this session with James Fox, one of the 3 participants of the new TV series, Chasing UFOs.
Don't forget, neighbors, you can also find us on Twitter. That's where we are. We are the Paracast on Twitter. So send us a tweet if you have some comments to make about the show.
With Gene and Chris, you're in
the Paracast.
America's #1 source for independent talk radio for over a decade. We are the GCN Radio Network.
Ray Perkins, a reclusive veteran burned out from the Gulf War, lives tortured by relentless, perplexing nightmares. Nightmares of a horrific battle in deep space and of a mysterious woman suffering in agony for her devastated world. A woman not yet born, calling across centuries to him. Then, a coincidence leads him to his destiny, his chance to alter the universe. Attack of the Rockoids. The former fiction editor for Star Wars and Indiana Jones, Robert Simpson, writes, "The soul of the novel Attack of the Rockoids lies in its heart and passion for building a convincing tale of a love that spans the galaxy, a thrilling story. Attack of the Rockoids is available now. Read a sample chapter and get a special discount off of the cover price at our website, rockoids.com. That's ROCKOIDS.com. Attack of the Rockoids, a novel in the grand science fiction tradition.
Now at DeseretFoodStore.com, sign up for a 1-month supply of delicious food for only $99 with free shipping. That's right, only $99. Gourmet restaurant-style meals with a 30-year shelf life. Packaged in heavy-duty Mylar bags for easy transport and freshness. Meals like stroganoff, lasagna, teriyaki, 5-bean chili, granola pancakes, and much more. Visit DeseretFoodStore.com, spelled DESERET Foodstore.com, or call 801-444-1444. Food for now, food for life.
37 things to hoard. Do you have the 37 crucial food items you can't survive without? When disaster hits and mobs go crazy grabbing food off the shelves, your family may be without food or waiting in long food lines. Prepare now at 123survivalplan.com. That's 123survivalplan.com. Many people don't have these 37 food items. Learn what you need to hoard now at 123survivalplan.com. Watch the video over 1 million people have viewed to discover the 37 food items that will sell out first when disaster strikes at 123survivalplan.com.
We want to know, how do you use WebEx?
The smartest thing my company did was to give us WebEx. I'm in sales, and now I get twice the meetings, close twice the business, and make twice the money. I guess I should say thank you to the folks in IT.
The new free version of WebEx Meetings lets you take your office anywhere, your desktop, laptop, or mobile device. Get your free WebEx Meetings basic account now at webex.com. WebEx from Cisco. WEBEX.com. Webex.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
George Washington said, "Government is not reason, it is not eloquence, it is force, like fire. It is a dangerous servant and a fearful master." America's government is no longer the servant of the people and the protector of our liberty, but has become that fearful master. We the people must understand the nature of this government gone awry if we are to be successful in saving our country. America is being deliberately destroyed by a cabal of international gangsters so that she can be forced into subjugation to a one-world government. The God-given, unalienable rights of the Declaration of Independence are in jeopardy. We must not let them be stolen by ambitious and evil men. Utopia Silver Supplements believes it is our God-given right to make our own health care decisions however we deem best. If we can help you with your supplement needs and better health, then help us win this health freedom battle. Visit us today at utopiasilver.com. That's UTOPIA silver.com, or call 888-213-4338. Again, 888-213-4338.
This is Jerome Clark, author of the UFO Encyclopedia and other books. You're listening to the Paracast.
We have James Fox. He's one of the 3 action heroes in chasing UFOs from National Geographic. And we're going into the first episode where they go into the Stephenville case. They do a little night watching, and they're lucky. Now, obviously, people who are watching the show for the first time or are skeptical of reality shows, when you were doing this nighttime thing, you didn't invent a light in the sky. You saw one, right?
Yeah, no, that definitely was not invented. That really happened. I was about 200 yards away when it did, and I heard her screaming over the walkie-talkie, "Get your butt over here," you know?
I would have loved to have heard her without censoring the word blank UFO.
Yes. Yeah, she definitely has a penchant for yes.
I think your dad must have been a sailor.
She was very excited because that was pretty rare.
Now, how did she come into this in this show? Did she believe, disbelieve? Was she neutral? Was it just a gig for her? What?
She was raised in the Hudson Valley area of New York, so she's kind of grown up knowing that this stuff's been going on because, you know, the night sees, the whole Hudson Valley sightings. And so she's always had an interest in it, and then she inadvertently got involved with a TV reality show called Destination Truth. And she was actually applying for a different position altogether, and I guess they said, "Hey, how would you like to be one of the cast members?" You know, and she's a hardcore woman. Let me tell you, this girl is fearless. She's very strong. She's not scared to do anything. I've seen her, you know, climb trees and jump off things and rappel down cliffs. I mean, she's pretty hardcore.
So she would have made it as a stunt person if she didn't do this.
She would have totally made it as a stunt person. Exactly.
She is a superhero.
She is a total superhero, and she's beautiful superhero. And she's incredibly capable. I was very impressed with her ability to co-executive produce a TV show, which is a lot of work, and simultaneously be on as cast. I mean,
okay, so she's the co-executive producer.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay.
Interesting.
So she's the co-boss.
She's the co-boss. She's in the field. She's running the game.
Aha. Now, you're skeptic. How did you pick Ben McGee?
Ben was picked. Now, I didn't pick him. See, okay, I'll back up a little bit here.
Sure.
There was probably a year to a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit more, there was a sizzle, which is like a little demo reel, shot by Ping Pong Productions in Hollywood. They found, they did some internet research, and they found this very brilliant paper written on, I guess, you know, I'm not doing it justice. Basically, it's the plausibility of, you know, extraterrestrial life from a geologist standpoint, where you might most likely find it, very, very beautifully written, and they caught the eye of this production company. So they contacted this guy, Ben McGee, who turned out to be a geologist and a radiation specialist. He actually holds a top secret clearance, and he they approached him.
He's one of the men in black right now. Stop.
He probably is. And they approached him, and I guess Ryder and Ben McGee shot a sizzle, which was then picked up by Nat Geo. So it was a done deal. I had nothing to do with any of that. I was later approached, probably months later, after the sizzle was shot, after the ball had started, sort of got rolling. And I was approached by this production company. It's like, hey, possibly come on board for research, and maybe we have a position in opening up as a cast member. And I thought, well, this could be an interesting gig, Nat Geo, and I wouldn't mind getting involved with something that possibly could help me, increase my personal exposure and possibly my previous works. And hey, this could be an interesting gig. But they weren't sold on a third person. Nat Geo wasn't. And so I auditioned once, then I auditioned a second time, and we put together a number of letters why I would be good, on the show and what I'd have to offer, and they just barely said it right towards the end, right before going in. I mean, within a week of going into production, full phase production, they said, "All right, we'll put James on as the third cast, and we'll have him on probation for the first 2 episodes out of 8, and we'll have one of our producers in the field with you for one of those episodes." So I was sort of, scrutinized my every move, listened to all my OTFs, my on the fly or in the field commentary and that sort of thing for the first 2 episodes. And then they said, hey, I think James has a lot to bring to the table, and brought me on board. And that's how that happened.
So it could have been a dynamic duo instead of a dynamic trio.
Exactly. It was going to be a dynamic duo. So I think that, I'm quite confident that my contribution made the show, certainly added to the show. Nobody got me to say anything I didn't want to say. And the nice thing is that I get to view my point. I can say whatever I want about whatever case. I could put my foot down and say, I think this case is most likely a UFO or possibly ET, or a comment on Travis Walton. That's nice. But like I said, in terms of having full control in post-production and exactly
never going to happen.
Methodology used to string all this stuff together, unfortunately, I don't have much control. I'd like to get some more, and I got my foot in the door, and so I think it's a risky venture, but it's also a very exciting venture. And it's, like I said, I can't emphasize to you guys enough how much difference it makes having an organization like National Geographic behind what we're doing. It makes a lot more things possible.
Well, certainly National Geographic has an image of a state organization, very serious. So if they're really pushing the UFO angle to the hilt, I guess it is something you have to take seriously.
Well, they're testing it out. They're seeing, what can be done, what's good, and I think it takes a while to, fine tune a show to get the right balance going. I intend to, fight along the way. I'm open to all feedback. I know there's certain limitations with broadcast TV. I'm sure you guys are perfectly aware of that.
Sure.
But there are also things that can be done and changed and adjusted, and I fully intend to work with all the tools at my disposal to ensure that's done. I think a very finely balanced show could be put together that's entertaining and exciting, adventurous, but also informative and accurate. And that's ultimately what my goal is on this series.
Now, are you going to do any exposing of the fakers, or just ignore those things?
Good question. I don't even really have time for it, and just because what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, we're really, when none of us were happy. We're crazy about the terminology chasing UFOs, but we are in pursuit of good cases, good evidence, and I want nothing more than the best evidence, the best cases. Do you know how much I would love to go to a crash site like Roswell or Digman, Arizona, with that one, Kingsman from 52?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll go to one of these sites with all the proper tools and uncover evidence. That, I would like nothing more than to do that. And that ultimately is one of my goals.
Well, you should talk with Chuck Wade. He's sitting on some material that's very unusual, some metal. shards that he was able to gather on the plains of San Augustine, which is one of the auxiliary sites.
While we're on the topic, you guys, seriously, if anyone out there is listening to this broadcast, please contact me personally through my website, I know what I saw, themovie.com. I know what I saw, themovie.com, and let me know about these cases, because I will fight tooth and nail to get all the best stuff I can.
I'm surprised you guys didn't. I'm surprised you guys didn't come up to the San Luis Valley and talk to me. It's America's #1 hotspot per capita.
Wait, hang on a second. San Luis Valley, is that? Excuse my ignorance. I think I've been there. Isn't that? Don't they have like a UFO tower out there?
Yeah, that's a bit of a joke. But if I was going to put a UFO watchtower anywhere in the United States, that's where I'd put it.
Okay, well then you know the UFO watchtower I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, Judy Messeline's little alien tchotchke shop. Yeah.
Thank you.
I used to live about 15 miles from there.
We did go through Lewis Valley. We really did.
And you didn't talk to me?
We did go through there for it's Colorado episode.
Right, but you understand that Chris has written some very important books on that subject.
On San Luis Valley?
Yes.
The only reason why anybody really knows about it is because I put 13 years field investigating there and investigated thousands of reports there.
Wow. So it really is a hot spot, isn't it?
It is the hottest spot in America per capita. I think 5 of the top 11 counties in the United States per capita are there, including Saguache County, which has over 250 sightings per 10,000 population.
Is that like a little portal or something? I mean, because is that near Salida?
Correct.
Okay, well, that would explain the what's his name's video.
Tim Edwards.
I'm drawing a blank with.
Tim Edwards.
The gentleman Tim Edwards. Thank you very much. We got to meet with his entire family, and also the daughter and the father, who was there at the time he filmed that.
Well, for season 2, you ought to talk to Chris. We have James Fox, one of the 3 members of the team of Chasing UFOs. With Gene and Chris, you're in
the Paracast.
Are you tired of searching for great talk radio?
Something more important.
Search no more. We are the GCN Radio Network.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. If you'd like to listen to GCN programs on the go, I have great news. GCN has created a Droid and iPhone application, and it's free. Just as easy as going to GCNlive.com, click on the banner, and download. Before you know it, you'll be listening to your favorite hard-hitting GCN shows, live or on demand, right on your Droid or iPhone, 24/7 and on the go. So download the Droid and iPhone app free by clicking on the banner at GCNlive.com. Thanks again for listening to GCNlive.com. Again, that's GCNlive.com. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. There's no reason why you shouldn't live to be at least 100 and have a great time getting there. And I'm going to give you a free copy of my lecture that tells you exactly how to do it. In fact, after you've lived a long and healthy life, there should be only 2 documents in your medical chart, a birth certificate and a death certificate. I'm Dr. Wallach with a warning. If you have a 4-inch medical chart, if you take prescription drugs for high cholesterol, high blood pressure, arthritis, joint pains, and other health issues, the medical profession is failing you. They're using you for an ATM machine. My free lecture is going to reveal what pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know. There's been groundbreaking research and discoveries on how to effectively treat or eliminate over 900 different diseases naturally, and it's all in my free lecture called Deadly Recipe. So call toll-free 1-855-79-YOUNG. Again, that's toll-free 1-855-79-YOUNG. 1-855-79-YOUNG.
Welcome back to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio. And now, here's Gene Steinberg.
With Gene and Chris on the Paracast, we are Chasing UFOs with James Fox, one of the 3 members of the team of the Chasing UFOs TV series, And we've acquainted James with now something for season 2, which is to explore what Chris O'Brien has done with the Mysterious Valley. If you want, you should get a hold of Chris's books on the subject.
Oh, yeah.
I would love nothing more.
Yeah, it's...
I was very intrigued. Also a really beautiful place.
Yeah, America's Tibet.
God, it really was. I was so impressed.
Well, we just had an outbreak of flying humanoid sightings. We've had 20 in the last 2 years, 9 within the last 4 months.
God, bizarre. Any good photographs?
One cell phone footage by a police officer.
Wow. Bizarre.
We're putting together a 7-camera, 24/7 high-def surveillance setup on cell towers and mountaintops.
What do you guys think? Speaking of surveillance cameras, what do you think of the ranch that Bigelow has been funding?
I was the first investigator up there back in '96. I was the one that told Terry about Bigelow and Lawrence Rockefeller.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's the real deal, is it not?
Yep. The whole area, the whole Uinta Basin has amazing activity.
I've heard very credible sources that that's really going on.
Well, you should read Frank Salisbury's book, the great Utah UFO display that he wrote back in the mid-'70s about the area.
Wow, phenomenal, man. What do you think it is about that region?
It's a rent in the fabric of reality. It's some sort of egress point. There's some sort of doorway there. It moves around, too, I think. It's not only on the Sherman Ranch, or the Gorman Ranch, as the book calls it, but it's in that whole Fort Duchesne, Vernal, Roosevelt area, and then south into the heart of the Uinta Basin. That is some of the spookiest territory in the whole country.
Did the native Indians leave any indication that that was going on while they were there?
Yeah. Yeah, and not only there, but all over the Southwest. There's been incredible activity recently on the Zuni Reservation on the border between New Mexico and Arizona. They've had some really impressive sightings that even the Navajo Rangers are coming out and talking about up around the Four Corners area. This is all recent stuff.
Phenomenal, man. Isn't it incredible how much of this activity has been going on, is going on, and most likely will obviously continue to go on, and yet most of the world just doesn't have a clue?
No, yeah, that's true. It is.
Doesn't it blow
it's
you
amazing.
away? I mean, I was on Fox News today.
You have my sympathy.
Yeah.
Did you know when they came out with the health care ruling where they upheld the individual mandate, 2 of the cable networks got it wrong. They decided that the mandate had been struck down by the Supreme Court. One was CNN, which apologized pretty quickly. The other was Fox News.
No relation.
Let me guess. They didn't apologize.
They did in writing. I mean, there is a written memo because what happened in Judge Roberts' decision, you had this 2 or 3 sentences, and they read the first sentence and reported what happened and didn't read the second sentence, which explained everything.
Wow. Somehow that doesn't surprise me. But in any case, this guy just stood there with this incredulous look. Shepard, do you guys know who he is? Shepard on Fox News, Shepard.
Oh, yeah, I know who he is, yes.
Okay, well, anyway, he sort of stood there with this incredulous look on his face the whole time, and I just thought, oh, God. And that's like the quintessential reporting on UFOs, and I just thought, this guy hasn't got a clue. He's in his organization. Could you imagine if, like, 1/10 the resources went to like the Monica Lewinsky or Elia Gonzalez stories would go to this, and how potentially explosive this would be?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah.
To me, it's like you're just not in the know, buddy. You just don't know. You just don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we really care about Lindsay Lohan's traffic accidents.
But a part of me that's going, gosh, if this is the kind of stuff that rates well, my God, I picked the wrong industry.
Yeah.
It's a little frustrating.
It's the American pubic, James.
They say that no one's ever gone poor.
James, it's the American pubic.
Of the American public, right?
No, the American pubic. Forget the L.
This is family radio, folks.
Really
Let's not get beside ourselves.
Guys.
Chris, right now, he's thinking because he's here and because he figures that he's here in person, I'm not going to cut him off, but I will. Because he knows I have my fingers on the mixer here, and I can just turn that down, and that's it. But seriously speaking, this presents, let's consider the obstacle in investigating UFOs. We have MUFON, we have scattered organizations around the world with a few thousand members. We have some reality shows, but the budget you guys have is a fraction of what any cable news outlet has 24/7. And imagine if you had a Woodward Bernstein type of investigative reporter who went after the UFO mystery with a decent budget. And, okay, take 6 months, take a year, figure out what's going on. What do you think they'd come up with?
That we're being visited.
Pushing up daisies.
There you go. There you go. Even better. Exactly. It's probably a more accurate description of what the end results of that investigation would yeah. It's funny because I remember going to commercial break when we did a segment. There was one episode of all the 9 appearances that I helped organize for the Larry King shows. But there was one in particular where I literally had it my way. I got to pick everybody. They said at the end, it took like several weeks to put it together, but they said at the end of it, we have to have a counter viewpoint. We have to have someone on. I'm sorry, but we have to do that. And I said, okay. Well, I didn't have a choice. So I think I picked James McGaha that time. I'm not sure, because he seemed like he was easily debunked. But not only that, but they said we won't have him on until the second half. So if you guys ever get the opportunity, it was in November of 2007. It was like John Callahan, Governor Symington, Colonel Holt. It was Peniston, and we had a satellite feed in from Denmark with Nick Pope, and myself for the first half of the entire CNN live, Larry King show. And it was amazing. And I remember when we were going to commercial break the second time around, and granted, we have certain, obviously, time restrictions, but hey, man, it was live, and we were going. And, it was amazing. Go to the second commercial break, and Larry looks over at the governor, and he looks over at Peniston, and he looks over at Colonel Holt, and he says, wow, this stuff's real, isn't it? And they kind of nodded and said, yeah, this is really happening. And he had this look on his face, and he had this look like, holy moly, it was like this sort of revelation. You could see the gears turning on the inside of his head. Like, here's a guy who's been in this industry, the news reporting industry, all this time, and he was having this revelation like, hey, maybe there's a lot more to this than what we've all thought. I'll never forget that moment. It was very exciting. But, and then I talked to him later about it, Larry King, and he said, I'd like nothing more than to have the definitive piece of evidence. And if you ever find it, you come to me. And no matter what I'm doing, I'll make sure it gets reported on. So it's like, on the one hand, you have the, iconic figures in the media saying, hey, I'd love nothing more than to break this story. I'd love it for it to be true. Then on the other hand, they're not out there going digging for it. And they're not putting the resources and the manpower. I mean, CNN during that period did quite a bit. Don't you think we did?
CNN, I think you did a lot. I mean, if you go with somebody like a Shepard Smith over at Fox News or any of these TV anchors, they're not really interested in doing journalism. They're just reading a teleprompter or maybe interviewing guests or interviewing other reporters. It's not like it was when Walter Cronkite was doing it.
Yep. I almost got to Walter Cronkite, by the way, you guys. He got a little ill. I was trying to get to him in 2000. Was that 2007 or 2008? And I had a preliminary interview secured with him, and then he got sick, and I never got it back again. But I'd really like to know what his takes are.
What speculation that would be.
Don't forget, neighbors, you can also find us on Twitter. That's where we are. We are the Paracast on Twitter. So send us a tweet if you have some comments to make about the show.
We have James Fox. You're on with Gene and Chris. You're in
the Paracast. How did I do, guys?
Ray Perkins, a reclusive veteran burned out from the Gulf War, lives tortured by relentless, perplexing nightmares. Nightmares of a horrific battle in deep space and of a mysterious woman suffering in agony for her devastated world. A woman not yet born, calling across centuries to him. Then, a coincidence leads him to his destiny, his chance to alter the universe. Attack! Attack! of the Rockoids. The former fiction editor for Star Wars and Indiana Jones, Robert Simpson, writes, "The soul of the novel Attack of the Rockoids lies in its heart and passion for building a convincing tale of a love that spans the galaxy, a thrilling story. Attack of the Rockoids is available now. Read a sample chapter and get a special discount off of the cover price at our website, rockoids.com. That's ROCKOIDS.com. Attack of the Rockoids, a novel in the grand science fiction tradition."
You may snicker when you hear this message, but you won't laugh after you experience the best-kept health secret ever, camel milk. Camel milk is loaded with health benefits far superior to other milk. Camel milk has antibacterial, antiviral, and anti-tumor properties, is rich in B vitamins, and camel milk is 3 times higher in vitamin C than cow's milk, and 10 times higher in iron. And camel milk contains 52 units of insulin-like proteins per liter, effectively lowering blood sugar levels. Many of our members testified that drinking camel milk reversed diabetes and greatly improved autism. Camel milk is easily digested by those who are lactose and beta-casein intolerant and comes fresh or frozen from your trusted local family farm, shipped on dry ice to preserve freshness. Go to camelmilkforsale.com now and look under products and pricing for the spring special with free bonus pints. That's camelmilkforsale.com, camelmilkforsale.com.
So you don't want to carry a gun, but you do want to ensure your personal safety? Then empower yourself legally with self-defense products from StunGunMikes.com. Stun guns come in more shapes than just what you see on TV. Now you can get a powerful mini stun gun that fits in the palm of your hand, a stun baton, or a cell phone or lipstick stun gun. StunGunMikes.com also carries real spy gear like bug and metal detectors and discreet car and home security cameras that hide in almost any type of everyday object, from alarm clocks to pens. Now you can see how your babysitter really treats your children. Go to StunGunMikes.com, spelled just like it sounds. StunGunMikes.com. Buy real spy gear from StunGunMikes.com, just like the exact same spy gear sold to the government, military, corporate security, law enforcement, and private detectives. Empower yourself with self-defense products now from StunGunMikes.com.
Did you know that 50% of heart attacks are brought on by infections? Did you know that hospitals are breeding grounds for antibiotic-resistant bugs like MRSA? The environment is infected with parasites, and the mild winter means ticks with Lyme disease, mosquitoes with West Nile virus, and cold and flu viruses will be on the rise. Protect yourself with nature's natural antiparasitic, antiviral, antifungal, antibiotic, Allicin, the heart of garlic. Get concentrated protection with Ali-C and Ali-Ban from AffinityHealthProducts.com. 1 capsule of Ali-C equals 40 cloves of garlic or 100 garlic pills. With no garlic breath, Ali-Ban has Allicin in spray, liquid, and cream forms with 3 times more strength than leading brands and costs less. Go to AffinityHealthProducts.com, spelled AFFINITY, healthproducts.com, or call 877-888-7126. That's 877-888-7126. Protect yourself with Ali-C or Ali-Ban from AffinityHealthProducts.com.
We'd like to hear from you. If you have a comment or question about the Paracast, send it to news@theparacast.com. That's news@theparacast.com. And if you'd like to catch up on past episodes, we have hundreds of shows for you to download, direct from theparacast.com. That's theparacast.com. Or check us out at iTunes.
We have James Fox. He is one of the 3 members of the team chasing UFOs for National Geographic Channel. The premiere episode began Friday, June 29th, 2 episodes at 9 and 10 p.m. The first episode covered Stephenville, Texas, and as we've already hinted, we did a little bit of a spoiler there. They see something they couldn't identify or expect. Maybe E.T. was watching them.
I thought you guys were going to introduce me as my real true action hero, G.I. James. Is that
G.I. James? I like it. That's good. Okay.
Actually, he auditioned for Robin in The Dark Knight Rises, but Robin is not in that film. I'm sorry.
G.I. James strikes back. This time, he's pissed off.
Shh, don't tell the production company. They'll use it in the next promo.
Somebody wronged him. Nobody wrongs G.I. James.
Well, I've got a couple of observations about the production techniques and some of the choices that have been made.
We should basically first point out that Chris O'Brien here has done documentary films.
Yeah, a number of them. In fact, we won the EB Awards at the UFO Congress this year with It Could Happen Tomorrow, the doc that I cut. And
I'd love to see that.
50 shows. Nat Geo did contact me, but Bree did not follow up, so I didn't go chasing after them. I used up my Warholian 15 minutes of fame 20 years ago. So
I tried desperately to get Ping Pong, Nat Geo, to go to the conference. I said, my God, we have a wealth of stuff all happening in one spot. We have this organization that's paid to fly all these people in from all over.
And Chris would have bought you lunch.
Yeah.
Incredible stories, exactly, you know. And they tried, and some things overlapped, and it's just silly. But, you know, what I'm really hoping is that in the future I'll have a bit more power. You know, I got my foot in the door. They are listening, and my previous works, I sent a 4-disc DVD set. I sent 50 Years of Denial, Out of the Blue, the revised version of Out of the Blue, 2006 release. And I know what I saw, as well as the raw material from the 2007 November National Press Club event that Leslie Kane and I did.
Right.
And those have been circulating in headquarters, and they, you know, the feedback I'm getting, the president, National Geographic, all been watching this stuff and been very, very impressed. You know, I don't think they realized how much to UFOs there was. So in some ways, I'm slowly influencing the powers that be in my little way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's good. We need somebody like you on the inside, jerking some chains.
I'm taking a few hits in the UFO community as a result of it, but I'm prepared to take a bit of a risk to get into the arena and see what kind of things I can shake up.
Yeah, we need all the inside guys that we can get. I think it's really good that you're doing it, and I'm really impressed with the production quality. But I do have some questions about some of the decisions that were made to do specific things, like go out and check for physical evidence, metal, in the dead of night in ankle deep water would be one. And also, whose idea are those face cameras? That can't be.
They're very flattering, aren't they?
It's just to me they're so hokey, and maybe in a ghost show, or I think one of you even joked in the first episode that it reminds you of Blair Witch Project. It does, but that's not necessarily a good thing.
Is that one of the constraints, though, that you have the success of Blair Witch and the so-called found footage, and therefore everybody now has to emulate that?
Yeah, apparently I don't watch TV. I don't know if you guys knew that. I don't even have a television. So,
neither do I.
But from what I understand, there were a few shows that introduced that style of filming at night, and it was just a major overnight hit. And other shows have tried to emulate that, and for some reason, viewers love to watch people at night creeping around, looking for stuff.
Looking for metal, physical evidence at night. Something about that.
There were
just
times, like for instance, when we were at Roswell, we were looking for metal all day. I mean, I was out there. I couldn't have been happier. I was like a pig in doo doo, and.
Yes, family radio reaching the edge of reality here, ladies and gentlemen.
Speaking of pigs, did you ever get any shots of the big pig that was stalking you? It seemed like you had a secret admirer in the bushes there, buddy.
All right, guys, I was going to say something else. I realized it was not appropriate. So, but I was really happy, and we stayed out, and I said, hey man, can we stay out here a few more hours after sundown? And we did, and it kind of made sense because we were out there for 5 hours in daylight, and I was, hell-bent on finding something. We had a geologist, Frank Kimbler out there with us. We had, obviously, Ben McGee, who's a geologist. We're looking around ant hills and animal burrows and areas of runoff, and it was very exciting. And we ended up moving into darkness and operating under the cover of darkness. But there were other instances where we're out there, like, for instance, by the grist mill, where it just didn't make any sense. It was like, really, why are we out here at night right now? You could see so much better. So there were times when it was like, all right, I can see how this makes sense, and times where it just didn't make sense.
But fortunately, you were saved by getting that great footage.
Yeah, exactly. We got some good. Yeah, there was times when, like, hey, you want to be out under the night sky, trying to get a glimpse of potential areas for hotspot areas, obviously. But there are times when we're doing stuff going, why are we doing this at night? You know, I mean, this is ridiculous. We should be out here during the daytime. So that's a little frustrating, and I think things will change for future episodes because, you know, people like Ben and myself are really going to put our foots down a little bit from time to time and say, all right, you know, we understand we want to create a sense of adventure and be out under the cover of darkness certain times, but other times it just simply doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I agree. Also, I found it pretty interesting that you should have the kind of gear that you have out there. That's one thing that I was impressed with is the kind of technology that you're bringing to bear. I mean, I would be like a kid in a candy store with the kind of gear I'm sure that National Geographic has access to. What other types of gadgetry are you going to be bringing out?
Here's the really cool thing, is that if we can't afford it, and, you know, we can get a lot of cool gear, but if we can't afford it, a lot of the companies that produce that gear, provided we plug them, will let us take it into the field.
Product placement. Wow.
Yes, you see what I'm saying? So the cool thing is, like, if this show does well and I have more say-so, which I certainly plan on arranging, I'll be able to come to specialists like you guys and say, hey, you know what, let's go revisit a crash site and let's take all the tools we need necessary to get our butts out there. Do you know what I mean? And really see what we can uncover.
I hope I'm on the top of your list.
You know what I mean? Well, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Well, I know like Chris likes to travel. I'm a hermit. I've told people that. I don't go out. I just simply stay in my studio and I write and I edit and I produce. And if I go out, you know, people just scream, oh, him. Forget it. Chris is agreeing. Well, you notice when Chris is here and he does his rare appearance in the studio as opposed to remotely, he wears shades.
Well, I was like a kid in a candy store at I'll tell you, man, being at the Roswell crash site for me was something I've been waiting for 20 years.
I'll tell you what, we can't wait for 20 years for this. We have James Fox with Gene and Chris. You're in
the Paracast.
The GCN Radio Network, providing the world with hard-hitting talk radio. GCN. Great talk radio starts here.
Graphic Converter is the image manipulation tool for the rest of us. It does not use any database. You get full control of all your files. Want to view the images of a folder? Drag it into Graphic Converter and a powerful browser opens up to show your image files. You could use it for slideshows. You could use it to import images from digital cameras or from scanners. Need to do some image editing? You can do that too in Graphic Converter. Also print catalogs. Convert from so many formats I can't even list them. Download now to see if Graphic Converter is good for you, like 1.5 million other users. Guess what? You could save money when you buy Graphic Converter. Use the coupon code NIGHTOWL. Use the coupon code NIGHTOWL to get a special price for Graphic Converter. Go to lemkesoft.com. That's LEMKE soft.com. lemkesoft.com. LEMKE soft.com.
Love gardening but don't love seeing your hard work destroyed by wildlife? Then use the #1 most effective deer and rabbit repellent you can buy, Plant Skid. Plant Skid repellent protects gardens, trees, and landscaping by emitting an odor that browsing animals associate with predators. So animals avoid plants before they nibble, not after. Plant Skid is made in the U.S. from non-toxic, 100% organic, environment, and pet-friendly ingredients. Other repellents wash off in the rain. Not Plant Skid. It's guaranteed to outlast all other repellents. Plant Skid was the first animal repellent to be OMRI listed organic and now comes in liquid spray, powder concentrate, or easy-to-use granular. Just sprinkle around your garden. For proven protection from deer, rabbits, squirrels, and other small rodents, use Plant Skid. Member tested and recommended by the National Home Gardening Club. Find a dealer near you at plantskid.com. That's PlantSkydd.com. Ask about our new vole repellent when you call 800-252-6051. That's 800-252-6051. Plant Skid, proven plant protection, guaranteed, or your money back.
Survival is not about the end of the world. It's not about a hypothetical plane crash or the latest violent storm. Survival is about the satisfaction of knowing you can take care of yourself and your family in any situation, anytime, anywhere. CampingSurvival.com was started in 1956. No, not the .com part, the survival part. CampingSurvival.com has over 17,000 urban, wilderness, and preparedness items. Supreme customer service, very low shipping, and no games. We look around to make sure we have the lowest prices, and CampingSurvival.com is 100% USMC veteran owned. Don't base your survival on the latest spring up on the internet company. Do business with an authority on survival. CampingSurvival.com. Use coupon code GCN at checkout, and CampingSurvival.com will take 5% off your order. CampingSurvival.com. Confidence born of preparation.
We want to know, how do you use WebEx?
I live in my car, sometimes a rental car. Every day, I find a nice quiet place to pull over and meet a client through WebEx, face-to-face on my smartphone. This is the way to do business.
The new free version of WebEx Meetings lets you take your office anywhere, your desktop, laptop, or mobile device. Get your free WebEx Meetings basic account now at webex.com. WebEx from Cisco. WEBEX.com. Webex.com.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Hi, Ted Anderson. I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
This is Hilly Rose, and I hope that you do listen to the Paracast, because you will learn a great deal about the paranormal.
We're having a great time with James Fox. He's one of the 3 members of the team of Chasing UFOs. And Chris has been going over some of the technical aspects of the production of episode number 1, which covered Stephenville, Texas, where James and Ben and Aaron were lucky to see something. Chris?
What was the final upshot of the analysis of that footage? It looked perfectly circular when it sequenced, the light sequenced. What did Ben think? What did the other people in post think about that? I mean, I don't think.
Well, here's one of the things that we want to change for if this goes to a next season, and I think it got more in depth as the show progressed. But the way it was structured, it didn't leave us a whole lot of time for the analysis at the end. And myself and Nat Geo and other people in the production were like, "Hey, look, we really need to spend more time on the analysis. Otherwise, you're leaving the viewers hanging."
Exactly.
And we really hit home with that. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. It seems really light on the backside for the first couple episodes. However, there were changes. I know that we all flew down for Brazil and Mexico and others to give a little more meat at the back end and continue to do so. And I knew, even Nat Geo had mentioned something about that. But the analysis work, see, I've been kind of out of the loop. The analysis work primarily is left for laboratories, and they really do send stuff out, by the way. To labs for it now. I've got a lot of the documents. But that stuff's been sort of Ben and writers' end of things. So, I think that more of an effort needs to be made at the end of those shows to properly evaluate that stuff. But in terms of what the end result was with that, was we don't know what it was.
Well, it was impressive, I must say.
I thought it was pretty impressive, too.
Yeah, it was a 1 in a million chance that you got that
night.
footage.
I couldn't wait to get it on a bigger screen.
Do you shoot in HD?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because they didn't send us HD on the press's DVDs. It's just standard definition. I don't know. Maybe they figure Blu-ray costs too much.
No, they wanted to get 2 episodes
on one disc.
on
Oh, really?
one
Did they
disc.
you guys standard def on the DVD? That's right, huh? Because standard DVDs are just that, aren't they?
Yeah.
You couldn't fit 2 episodes on one disc.
For Blu-ray, you could. Blu-ray, it's only 46 minutes an episode. On Blu-ray, you could.
Yeah.
And that also, I guess, is one key question here. The constraints to get all this to fit into, 44 to 46 minutes after the commercial announcements.
Yeah, we had an amazing, it was God, it was so good. We had a couple of interviews that were just so good. One of them was this very spirited debate between John Alexander and myself, and I have, tremendous respect for someone of his caliber to come forward and take such a strong position with UFOs. However, I strongly disagreed with him about the cover-up aspect.
Right, he doesn't buy that. We had a debate with him and Stanton Friedman a couple of years back. I suggest you listen to it.
I bet you Stanton Friedman ate him up for lunch.
He held his own pretty well, but one thing that I asked him, which he didn't answer.
Wait a minute, John Alexander held his own against Friedman?
Yeah, he did. I mean, they both, had intangible, unmovable positions, so it was more of a Mexican standoff. But one thing he could not answer was why, in his book, UFOs, he did not mention the National Security Administration once. The NSA is really the sleeping dog in all this. I mean, they have data that would just blow our minds. I'm sure of it.
Oh, I mean, come on. You know how many times I've talked to military witnesses that said they handed off the evidence and it was never seen them? And I said that to John. I'm like, John. He's like, well, that's just, it slipped between the cracks. I'm like, no, evidence of a flying saucer doesn't just slip between the cracks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't buy that. You don't, it just got lost in a file somewhere. Yeah, right. Landed flying saucer at Edwards Air Force Base just got lost in a file.
Yeah.
Not buying that.
Well, in the fact that he never mentions the NSA once in the entire book, that to me is quite disingenuous.
Yeah, it's interesting. What did he say about that?
He didn't. He dodged the question. He did not address that.
Well, Stan must have pinned him against the wall.
No, he didn't. He had a chance to, but he didn't. Stan was busy banging his own drum.
Stan was being a gentleman.
Yes, and of course in his the Friedman style.
I've often said, there's so much internal bickering. We're like a bunch of old ladies going on in the UFO community that we're sort of our own worst enemy.
Yeah, they don't.
And on the one hand, I can see why these things happen, and I'm all for embracing diversity in thoughts and
yeah, we're all part of a big team. We should all be working together. The Rodney King School.
Right.
Why can't we all just get along?
Yeah, remember when he said that? He just died, you guys.
I know.
He just found it in the bottom. It was so funny how the report I heard was so brief. It was like, Rodney King found dead at the bottom of the pool. No foul play anticipated or thought of. I thought, well, wait a minute. He's dead at the bottom of his pool. There's no foul play. Not to say there's some big conspiracy here, but
yeah, it kind of reminds me of Brian Jones when he died in '68.
I know, part of the Rolling Stones. Yeah, wow.
Well, getting back to episode one before we.
Sorry. Well, anyway.
Before we move on to the second show, what did you come away with in Stevensville, and how come I never heard anything about the alleged flyover of the Crawford Ranch? And some of the military activity, there was a major time lag between the military acknowledging that they had flights up in the area. I mean, it was a number of days before they...
I had interviews lined up with Robert Powell, extensive, discussions with him. He was all set to do it. And for whatever reason, the powers that be decided not to discover that. And I think they felt like it had been kind of done, been there, done that. They wanted to do a fresh, new kind of angle on it. There was Ricky Searles had come to me, and he said that after his sighting, he started to investigate.
James, you could have used that to your advantage and said the Air Force declined to comment when we approached them, or they declined to meet with us or something. You could have put a little bit of some heat on them.
You are speaking to the choir. Believe me, I was like, wait a minute, this is really significant. And there's so much stuff like that just, ends up either on the edit room floor or ends up not happening. Like, I'll give you another example. I was pushing the whole time to have this analysis work done with Frank Kimbler. We had found a laboratory in Los Angeles that was going to do the type of analysis necessary. It's extremely expensive, for free, provided they get plugged on Nat Geo. Then Frank Kimbler didn't want to hand his stuff over. I don't blame him. He didn't want to hand his stuff over to some lab via FedEx, only to be sitting with some intern for God knows how many endless weeks that they said it was going to take. He was worried he's never going to see these things again. He's like, look, I'll bring them to the lab personally and hand them over, and I want to meet the guy. You'd think, hey, all this effort, let's fly this guy out, put him up for a couple of nights, and make this happen. Didn't happen. To me, that was a Class A screw-up. But I didn't have enough control, there's nothing I could really do about that. But there are things like that happen, like, things get left on the back burner. I don't know.
The constraints of time where things have to be on the cutting room floor that may be really great for an episode. Maybe you should do like a super episode sometime with a That's another interesting point here. Obviously, each story has to be dealt with in the confines of a single episode. You've never considered, or would you consider for season 2, if things go well, having one subject basically continue to a second episode?
I think it's a great idea. A follow-up on a certain thing. I think it's a brilliant idea.
The case would have to be compelling enough to do that.
Yeah, sometimes you have. Well, I tell you, when I was in, gosh, guys, I don't know if I'm sure you probably know more about this than I do, but when I was at the grist mill interviewing Ricky Searles, he's the deer hunter that was underneath that craft that was so big he couldn't see the edge in any direction. When he looked up at it, and he was just studying the metal worker as well, and he was studying the fabric, the metal of this craft. He was describing that there was no rivets, no seams, no welds. There were these recessed, like inverted cones in the belly of the craft. And he's like, you could land an airplane on that thing. It was so huge. And right after the interview, it was outside. It was in the daylight. It was kind of sprinkling that day. A gentleman walked up to me, and we had the whole, Nat Geo crew there. When we travel in a big group. And this gentleman walks up to me, and he says, he pulls out his badge, and he says, "Sir, can I talk to you for a minute? I'm Officer Blank."
I'll tell you what, we'll find out what he told the crew. We have to break. We have James Fox with Gene and Chris. You're in
the Paracast.
America's #1 source for independent talk radio for over a decade. We are the GCN Radio Network.
Whether it's personal mail, whether it's business email, you want reliable, dependable delivery, freedom from spam, freedom from viruses. Well, Polaris Mail offers professional email hosting services for your personal or small business use. Each account uses 25 gigabytes of storage, an easy-to-use webmail interface, and full mobile sync. Sign up today for a 30-day free trial at polarismail.com, polarismail.com.
So here's what happened. I was placing an order online. The site went down. It just stopped responding. It took hours before it returned, but I'd already placed the order with another company. If your site goes down, you could lose business. And if you have a business or personal site, you'll want to know it's easy to run and it will stay online. At iWeb, your site is hosted on one of the most reliable networks in the world. Check it out. iWeb.com. That's iWeb.com.
In a coming-apart world, you need something to keep it tied together. That something is Atwood Rope, the highest quality rope made in the USA, from exotic braids for military, rescue, arborists, shipyards, tow line, or boating. Quality rope at affordable prices you and your customers can depend on. Find a dealer or shop online at atwoodrope.net. Enter promo code RADIO to receive 100 feet of 550 paracord free with purchase. Atwood Rope, working to keep the world tied together.
37 things to hoard. Do you have the 37 crucial food items you can't survive without? When disaster hits and mobs go crazy grabbing food off the shelves, your family may be without food or waiting in long food lines. Prepare now at 123survivalplan.com. That's 123survivalplan.com. Many people don't have these 37 food items. Learn what you need to hoard now at 123survivalplan.com. Watch the video over 1 million people have viewed to discover the 37 food items that will sell out first when disaster strikes at 123survivalplan.com.
Emergency Essentials has Mountain House deals in June. Today only, Emergency Essentials, the 24-year leader in emergency preparedness supplies, does it again with up to 25% off Mountain House foods. Don't miss these savings. All Mountain House number 10 cans are 20 to 25% off during the month of June only at BePrepared.com. Mountain House foods have superior taste and a scientifically proven 25-year shelf life because they start with fresh or frozen foods, then cook, prepare, and finally freeze dry them. All the goodness, flavor, and taste are locked in as if handmade from scratch. Mountain House, the same great meals enjoyed by campers and outdoorsmen the world over. Hurry, through today only. Call 800-999-1863 to experience exceptional customer service and the BePrepared.com low price guarantee. That's 800-999-1863. The choice is clear. Be unprepared or beprepared.com.
Healthy soils grow healthy plants. So before you plant your survival garden this year, is your soil healthy? Maximize your crisis garden soil with EM1 from Terraganics. EM1 organic soil conditioner, fertilizer amendment, and compost accelerant provides healthier gardens and faster, efficient garden composting. EM1 from Terraganics.com quickly improves soil structure by increasing nutrient availability and converting organic matter into soil humus. This improves seed germination and root growth, improves plant quality, size, color, flavor, nutrient value of fruits and vegetables, and improves shelf life. And when rain is not in the forecast, no worries. EM1 improves moisture retention in soils, helping reduce drought stress. Just like you prepare all else, prepare your crisis garden for maximum yields with EM1 from Terraganics.com. Order now at Terraganix.com or call toll-free 866-369-3678. That's 866-369-3678. Terraganics. Life's getting better.
This is Jerome Clark, author of the UFO Encyclopedia and other books. You're listening to the Paracast.
We have James Fox, one of the members of the Chasing UFOs team with Gene and Chris on the Paracast. And you started talking about this person you met outside after doing this interview who had some more stuff to present to you.
Well, yeah, he approached me, and he pulled out his badge, and he said, "My name is Officer Blank," and he showed me his badge, and he was an officer. And he said, "I'd like to talk to you." Great. I told one of the members, actually, I think I got in a little trouble because I disappeared for a bit, but I did tell one of the staff that I was going to head out for a moment, and we nipped around the corner to this little cafe. And he kind of looked over both shoulders and looked around. He was very paranoid, and he said, I need to tell you something. He said, that craft that Ricky Sorrell saw, he said, I saw that thing too. Matter of fact, all 5 officers on duty in the region saw that craft. He said it was about the size of 2 department stores. 1 or 2, I think he said it was 2. But that it was moving so slowly, and it was so close, that he pointed his radar gun at it and got a hit on it, that it was traveling at 22 miles an hour. And there was another officer that night that I'll tell you one more little tidbit he shared with me. He said they were looking at it. Another officer was looking at it from a vantage point from a hill, sort of down on it. You could see the top of the craft. It was really low. And he said there was a truck driver, a guy driving a pickup truck that drove underneath it. He said that guy got one heck of a sight. This police officer videotaped one of the craft from one of the cars, the cams in the car. And that video footage was taken back to the local police station and they all looked at. Apparently it was pretty good. Well, a local military base took that video footage. And he said, I can't do any of this on the record. I just wanted you to know that's what happened.
Oh, boy. I'd love to see the cutting room floor.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, no, this was not on camera. This was just, he pulled me aside. But the fact that this police officer pulled me aside, showed me his badge, talked to me about the whole incident, he just wanted me to know the truth. And I was just, it's really, that's pretty shocking.
As a feature on our show, we open up a thread at forum.theparacast.com to our many forum posters so that they can ask questions of our guests when they're on the air. And I have a question here from Polterwurst, who's been a member of the Paracast for about a year and a half. And he says, James, have you ever looked at a possible paranormal connection in UFO sightings? Judging from the number of paranormal witness-type TV shows, there should be at least as many good UFO witnesses as there are ghost and haunting witnesses. So why not make another film like I Know What I Saw, featuring the most credible paranormal witnesses? Maybe look for commonalities or differences between the two fields, UFOs and the paranormal. Also, he mentions doing something on reincarnation or near-death experiences. Lots of solid research and credible people talking about it like you wouldn't believe if you think there's just a religious or esoteric issue to this. What about that? Do you think there is a connection between, is there some paranormal aspect to UFOs in your estimation?
It's a great question. Let me start off with the second bit first because it's kind of fresh in my mind. I just lost my father about a month and a half ago. I actually watched him as he made the transition. I was in the room. And I watched my mother pass as well. Fortunately for me, I was in the room for both of their transitions. And with my mother, about a minute or so after she stopped breathing, this I don't know how to describe it, whether it's something you see or feel or both, but it was like this string of silk sort of exited the back of her neck as she was lying down on the bed. About a minute or so after she stopped breathing, it exited very smooth, very fluidly, and I was standing up just to the left of her, and it went around my neck like a silk scarf and then shot out the window, very smooth, very fluid. When I watched my father pass, his wasn't so smooth, it wasn't fluid. He stopped breathing. He was a quadriplegic with multiple sclerosis, so he'd been suffering for a while, but very much enjoyed life and did amazing things while he was here. But his sort of, you remember that Jack in the Box, and then it boing, and it pops out? That's what it was like with my father's spirit. It sprung out of him, and it bounced up to the ceiling and looked down at us. So I know anyone out there could say I'm crazy for saying this, but I don't really care whether anyone believes me or not. That's what I felt at the time. It was as real as me talking to you guys right now. And a very good friend of mine, Tim Coleman, who co-produced Out of the Blue, just recently did this film on life after death called The Skull Experiments, in which it's phenomenal. He spent like 5 years documenting these alleged conduits, I'm not sure what you'd refer to them as, mediums, that get in touch with the spirit world. And this guy's a very bright guy, former BBC correspondent, very well-read, articulate. If there was nothing to this, I promise you he wouldn't have spent 5 years on it. And the results of his investigation and his film were truly phenomenal. So I'm all open for something like that. But the problem I have with that is there's only so much time in one's life put aside for these projects. Like, when I finished I Know What I Saw, I didn't think I had it in me to do another UFO film, but I really feel like I fell short on this subject. I wanted to put a film into theaters with definitive evidence from around the world, and I didn't do that. I got close, but the investors I had on board weren't willing to take the chance necessary to enter the film into film festivals and ultimately get it into theaters. We had an offer on the table from A&E, and they weren't going to not take it, and they outvoted me, so I had to go with it. So I really want to set my sights back on this initial project of creating a higher-end version of I Know What I Saw, but more around the world, better evidence, recent stuff, cases like the Varginha case and cases in Chile and Africa, the Rua Zimbabwe and all of Japan and China and Russia. It may be a 2-hour special or a 1.5-hour special, I don't know, but we're sort of fine-tuning it right now. And the really cool thing is that a lot of the contacts I'm making now with National Geographic is really helping me with that project in mind. So I'd like to accomplish that goal first before I embark on other paranormal projects. But I'm always interested and fascinated, and I'm sure there must be a connection.
A fast showbiz question: do you feel being part of chasing UFOs, especially if it goes on for a number of years, you're typecast? Oh, he's the UFO guy.
Absolutely. No question about it. I think it's already too late.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, I think it's probably too late. But that's okay. I've done other smaller projects. I did the film called The Good Fight. I did a short film on that I'm working on the BP oil spill. I have a rough cut done of that. I'll probably have another 6 months of go on that one. I made a short movie on for a scientist that goes to Antarctica every year, and his effort right now is trying to save one of the last bodies of water where you can actually watch the interaction of species as they've been doing so for millions of years, sort of untouched, unmolested by man. And it's called the Ross Sea. And so I'm working on those projects. I did what's called a webisode for members of Congress to highlight some of what's happening up there. I did a piece on the old-growth giant sequoias in the Sequoia National Monument to try and shed a little light on what's been happening up there and get that in the hands of the Park Service. So I have my other little side gigs, and the UFOs seems to be something that kind of keeps me going. I've never made a lot of money at it. For those of you out there that think I haven't. I have zero savings in my savings account. I'm struggling right now to try to pay for a house. But I seem to be making it work somehow, some way. And in terms of whether or not I feel like I'm going to be pigeonholed as the UFO guy, I think it's much too late for that.
I think it's fair to say to people who look at TV as this rich source of riches, people making tens and tens of millions of dollars, you're hired help for a reality series. The pay may be nice, but it's not that nice.
No, it's nothing. It's nothing to speak of. I mean, it's funny. It's like, here I am on television and right now, and I'm probably broker now than I've been in 5 years. But I'm used to being. I can handle being. I make my money in spurts, and I've got a couple films in distribution, and I'm working those deals, and I have a lot of overhead right now because I just bought a house. I've been living in a house for 12 years, and renting, and no savings whatsoever. But I put all the money I made into my movies, but I had the landlady lose her job, and she really needed to sell the place, and I put a lot of money into it, and she made a deal with me, and so fortunately I was able to, basically do a loan through her, not the banks, and it kept me in the place, and I'm just, trying to pay it off as best I can. I got a couple of little rentals that I built on the property with all recycled materials that I got from locals in the area.
So basically, you become a landlord yourself. You're becoming a landlord yourself. We got to pay a few bills here. We're talking to James Fox with Gene and Chris. You're in
the Paracast.
Are you tired of searching for great talk radio?
Something more important.
Search no more. We are the GCN Radio Network.
Hi, Ted Anderson announcing a great way to listen to radio on the telephone. By calling 760-569-7700, you'll be hearing GCNlive.com programs in seconds. Come to GCNlive.com, find your favorite host's dedicated phone number, and hear them 24/7. You heard me right. Every show has a dedicated phone number. Stop by GCNlive.com and bookmark their number today. And again, that's 760-569-7700. We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Don't throw away leftovers. Instead, throw all your leftovers, vegetable peels, eggshells, coffee grounds, pizza crusts, and more into the bokashi. If you love to garden and compost but don't like the hassle of turning a compost bin or the smell, then check out the EM Bokashi Food Waste Recycling System from Terraganics. Finally, a way to recycle all your food and plant waste safely and effectively and stop using fertilizers. The EM Bokashi Food Waste Recycling System. Rather than decomposition, the Bokashi system uses fermentation to break down waste, so it takes less time to create nutrient-dense humus for crops or gardens, with no turning and no obnoxious odors. To learn more and order your Bokashi online, visit Terraganics.com and click on the orange button. That's Terraganics.com, spelled Terraganix.com, or call 866-369-3678. That's 866-369-3678. Recycle all your food wastes in about 6 weeks with the Bokashi Food Waste Recycling System from Terraganics.com. Terraganics. Life's getting better.
Welcome back to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio. And now, here's Gene Steinberg.
I'm going to really nail it next time.
We have to tell our listeners here that one of the featured spots on the Paracast is to get to say those two words. As, of course, James Fox has discovered, and, of course, Bryce Zabel. But when people like Nick Redfern come on the show, he doesn't say that. He just laughs. He laughs like the Shadow. The Shadow knows, and then Nick Redfern gives us... well, he gives us more of a resonant laugh, but we'll go. We have James Fox, part of the team producing Chasing UFOs, on the Paracast with Gene and Chris. And now we're asking your questions, listeners, posting in the question bank over at forum.theparacast.com. Chris?
Correct. One of our longest time listeners and forum posters, Cotton Z Way, who's been posting for 7 years almost, 6.5 years.
He must be very tired.
He asks an interesting question. You know, we were talking about other side projects that you've been involved with. Now, I remember back in 2010, I was really following your work down in the Gulf. As soon as you would post something on YouTube, or I'd hear an interview or any sort of radio thing or podcast thing, I would be glued, waiting to hear news, because there was such a news blackout about that god-awful BP oil spill. Cotton Z Way wants to know, do you have a planned release date for your Pretty Slick documentary about the spill? And also, do you have any other ideas that are either you're working on or considering to do a documentary on outside the UFO subject? Now, we've kind of talked about that, but what about your documentary about the Gulf oil spill?
I finished a rough cut of that. I signed a contract with MTV. It's a subsidiary of MTV. It's the contract with MTV, and I'm trying to remember the name of the other parenting company. But in any case, and I produced a 97-minute rough cut of the film, which was pretty good. And then they reviewed it, and they said, cut it down and make some changes and add some additional stuff to it. So I went back to the drawing board. I went back to the Gulf a year later, which was last year, and I reshot a whole bunch of great new material, unfortunately sad new material, on the piece, and started to integrate that back in, and got probably, I don't know, maybe 40% done. And then the National Geographic gig came and was just all-consuming. And now I am seeking post-production funds. I probably need about 3 months with post-production funds to have the film complete. And I'm sort of setting my sights on that a little bit right now. But like I said, it's been all-consuming doing this National Geographic gig the last 6-7 months. So, yes, I do fully intend on getting that film out. And the irony of it is, it's almost good that because it would have been ideal to get that film out exactly on the 1-year anniversary, but it just didn't happen. I got close. But the fact that I didn't means that now I've logged, followed the stories of all these people at the time, a year later, and then now 2 years later. So, when the film comes out, it will have the event itself and then the aftermath 2 years later.
When is some PR guy from BP going to come with a big Samsonite filled with old $100 bills?
You'll be the first people I call if that happens.
Yeah, please. Here's another question from this one from Boomerang, who's been a poster for about 1.5 years.
And by the way, I won't account for these names, Polterwurst and Boomerang, and Return Visit's the next one, I think.
Cotton Z Way. Mr. Fox, there are numerous accounts on record of what appear to be standard military aircraft involved with or in pursuit of UFOs. The Cash Landrum case is a classic example, as is the Stevensville case, which you were not really able to cover because of time constraints. But do you think the jet fighters and helicopters observed as part of these events are genuine terrestrial aircraft or another aspect of the illusion created by the phenomenon itself?
The question basically is, do I feel that we're actually pursuing these objects?
Mm-hmm. Now, Linda Howe would say, for instance, helicopters seen around cattle mutilation sites are holographic images put there by the aliens to fool us, which I don't give one bit of credence to. But are we dealing with the military monitoring these craft and following them, or do you think the phenomenon is supplying this visual data for us to throw us off our game?
Well, if you got an idiot like me out there chasing UFOs with limited resources, then I can only imagine with proper resources at one's disposal and a curiosity and a methodology to monitor the airspace, then why wouldn't they be? And I say they, and that's the military. Of course they are.
Especially if they're flying around Bush's ranch. You bet they'd marshal their resources, especially if you have an object that is a mile wide flying into restricted airspace around Bush's Crawford Ranch.
Oh, yeah. No, they scrambled jets. I heard a pretty damn credible source from, well, obviously there's been a number of cases, but one in particular. The governor of Fife Simon had told me that they scrambled jets from Luke Air Force Base to intercept that object. And I wish like heck I could remember the guy's name or more details, but basically there was an F-16 scrambled to intercept whatever the heck it was. It was flying over Phoenix, March 13th, 1997. And when the pilot returned, they had to pull him out of the cockpit because he was so terrified.
Wow.
Do you remember? Because I actually heard a recording that was given to me by a researcher, and I believe it was one of the airmen that helped pull this guy out of the craft. He was rocked to the core by what he saw.
There have been a number of
why,
accounts like that, yeah.
You know, what are we going to do? If I take any kind of plane and I fly over sensitive airspace, specifically that of like Area 51 or something, you don't think the military is going to send up aircraft to investigate?
No, they're just going to shoot you down.
Speaking of which, did you attempt during the show, or have you so far, or do you plan to? Did you attempt a flyover of Area 51?
That'd be like definite jail. There's reasons,
but it would sure make the headlines.
There's reasons why I can't even talk about that on any of the episodes because of the sensitive nature of one of the co-hosts' employment. That's as far as I'll go on that one.
Well, the plot thickens again.
He's one of them.
He looks innocent enough. Looks can be deceiving, though.
He's one of the brightest people I've ever met.
Yeah, he seems pretty on the ball. He's definitely a scientist.
Do you think at the end of the series you're going to make him a believer?
Do I think? There were times in the interviews where I would look over at him, one of which was with the Apollo 14 astronaut Gary Mitchell. He's also applying to be an astronaut. And there were times when he would look over, I'd look over at him, and I could see the gears turning, What if? What if? What if? But he's a scientist. He wants to see tangible data, let the data speak for itself. And I don't blame him, and he hasn't had a whole lot of experience other than what we just did, talking to witnesses. But he was on a number of occasions, he was very intrigued. He really was. I mean, how could you not be?
Right. I mean, you'd have to really have your head in the proverbial sand pile not to at least be intrigued enough to look into it further.
Yeah, I must say, there are a handful of people out there, Dr. J. Allen Hynek being one of them, that really swayed me quite early on. When you hear from someone whose job it was to investigate sightings for the Air Force for all that, 48 to 69, and then say the things he did post Blue Book, and then see what sort of stunts he pulled during his time at Blue Book, and Grudge and Sign and everything else.
And, of course, Swamp Gas.
Yeah, we can't forget that.
I remember Swamp Gas.
Michigan 66.
I was working. That's my first job.
That was from the Michigan hearings.
Sure, that was my first job, by the way. I was working for Saucer News with Jim Mosley, and that story came across our table, and we covered it. How about them apples? Okay, we have James Fox.
So cool. Hey,
we have James Fox from the Chasing UFOs team. You're on with Gene, and Chris, you're in
the Paracast.
We also have swag. We have all these exclusive Paracast things that you can buy. We've got 60 or so different items, and entails T-shirts, sleeves for notebook computers, iPad cases, mouse pads, the Paracast Jumbo tote bag, all sorts of T-shirts and jackets and stuff like that for men and women. We have a Paracast aluminum water bottle. All this stuff, you go to store.theparacast.com, store.theparacast.com. What makes it special is that the items are the best quality, great T-shirts, fabrics, and they have our official logo on them. That's what makes them special, in multiple sizes and colors. We even have stuff for children, stuff for women, stuff for men. We have all sorts of sizes, like small up to X large. A lot of good stuff. That's the swag from the Paracast. You go to store.theparacast.com, stop by, and take a shopping tour.
In a coming-apart world, you need something to keep it tied together. That something is Atwood Rope, the highest quality rope made in the USA, from exotic braids for military, rescue, arborists, shipyards, tow line, or boating. Quality rope at affordable prices you and your customers can depend on. Find a dealer or shop online at atwoodrope.net. Enter promo code RADIO to receive 100 feet of 550 paracord free with purchase. Atwood Rope, working to keep the world tied together.
37 things to hoard. Do you have the 37 crucial food items you can't survive without? When disaster hits and mobs go crazy grabbing food off the shelves, your family may be without food or waiting in long food lines. Prepare now at 123survivalplan.com. That's 123survivalplan.com. Many people don't have these 37 food items. Learn what you need to hoard now at 123survivalplan.com. Watch the video over 1 million people have viewed to discover the 37 food items that will sell out first when disaster strikes at 123survivalplan.com.
Iodine protection packs from hempusa.org are now in stock for immediate delivery worldwide. Our iodine protection packs include microplant powder, green life kelp, red palm oil, and our clear roll-on iodine that will feed the body the iodine it needs. All iodine protection packs are in stock, save you money, and ship for free in all 50 states. Visit hempusa.org or call 908-691-2608 today.
HempUSA.org has a revolutionary wonder food for detoxing the body and rebuilding the immune system. Microplant powder can help unclog arteries and soften heart valves while removing heavy metals, virus, fungus, bacteria, and parasites. Plus, it cleans and purifies the blood, lungs, stomach, and colon. Keep your body clean with microplant powder. Visit us at HempUSA.org or call 908-691-2608 today.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
ASAP what? What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Visit GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible.
We'd like to hear from you. If you have a comment or question about the Paracast, send it to news@theparacast.com. That's news@theparacast.com. And if you'd like to catch up on past episodes, we have hundreds of shows for you to download, direct from theparacast.com. That's theparacast.com. Or check us out at iTunes.
With Gene and Chris on the Paracast, we have James Fox making appearance number 444 on the show. After 3 years, he's now involved with chasing UFOs. And we've been asking your questions, ladies and gentlemen, posted at forum.theparacast.com in the question bank. Chris, we have maybe one or two more questions.
We do. SRL, who is about a year and a half, 2-year poster.
I'd love to know what that SRL means.
Standard Research Laboratory? I don't know. Anyway, James, have you ever investigated USOs, unidentified submerged objects? And if so, what might you be able to tell us about them? And a second question, have you ever interviewed witnesses who have claimed to have had paranormal experiences before witnessing an aerial anomaly?
No-ish to the first question, and yes to the second question. I have looked in a little bit of that case. Was it Nova Scotia?
Shag Harbor.
Yes, thank you. I looked into that one a little bit, and I've actually spoken to a couple people in the Navy that said they picked up things on sonar, traveling at extremely high speeds underwater. But that's the extent of my USOs. Sorry. Yeah,
Commander
USOs.
Book.
Try to get that one right. And in terms of the other question, yes, I have had witnesses report to me that they feel something prior to a sighting, or that they're drawn to a window, or that they it's almost like they're on autopilot, like someone sort of guiding them. That's just what's been reported to me. I personally have not experienced that, but what I have experienced, which is rather interesting, I know that's not directly your question, but when I had a sighting myself back in 1989, I remember my girlfriend looking at me. We were lying in bed looking out the bedroom window, and just above the treetops, there was this sort of egg-shaped thing that was sort of kind of dimming and then brightening, almost like it was like breathing or something. It was weird. She looked at me and she said, "What the bleep is that?" And I said, "I don't know what that is, but whatever it is, it knows we're looking at it." So there was a weird sort of sense, and she said, "I feel that too." It's funny, as an old girlfriend of mine, Lisa Reinhardt, and I bumped into her just a couple of years ago. And we're talking over 20 years ago. And I bumped into her just 2 years ago down in San Diego. And I said, Lisa, she had a husband and a lovely daughter, 6-year-old daughter. And I said, "You remember that sighting we had?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "What do you remember?" She told me. She said, "It knew we were looking at it." I said, "Yeah, I felt that too." So all these years later, we remembered it that way. So interesting. I've had some witnesses talk about being drawn to a window or doing a certain something, feeling some level of communication. And then my only personal experience with that is that once looking at this object, I felt that it knew we were looking at it. I don't know. I hope that helps.
It does, and I've, having investigated quite a number of cases myself, I'm surprised at the number of times I've heard some sort of, some pre-reaction to an event, just seconds or minutes before it happens, and possibly that could be equated to some sort of electromagnetic field effect. Ray Stanford calls it euphoria, that the magnetic field actually does impact the person and gives them kind of an elated sense sometimes. Animals, of course, we know react to that. But back to the first question on USOs, I would really recommend you read Ivan T. Sanderson's book, Invisible Residents, which is a classic from the 70s. At the time, he estimated upwards of 50% of all UFO sightings could be equated with bodies of water. And for anyone interested in USOs, that's a really important book to read. I have another question here from Muad'Dib.
Yeah, how did you? I'm impressed.
Well, that's from Dune, I think, right? That's from the Frank Herbert book, Dune, the Muad'Dib. Anyway, Muad'Dib is a brand new poster. This will be his first question asked on air. Welcome to the team, Muad'Dib. I'd be curious to know what James thinks about the, and I add famous, photograph of the triangular UFO from the Belgium UFO wave back in the, I believe, the 80s. That now we've found out that it's probably a hoaxed photograph. This is one of the most famous UFO photographs. Leslie Kean used it in her book, her recent book.
I used it in my film. I know what I saw.
I got it. Paul David, I think, has used it in one of his. So, do you think that? Well,
here's the interesting twist to that. When I got the photograph, obviously I saw it. I saw it in the early to mid '90s. I think it was taken in 90, 91, something like that, wasn't it? Somewhere around then, theoretically, or supposedly.
I think you're right. It was.
And
I
got
90s.
it from General de Brouwer, the Belgian general. And I said, "Boy, I'd love to use this image in my film. I know what I saw." And he said, "Well, you have to contact the owner, Petit Rochin, or something like this." I did, and the interesting thing about it was that they had no interest in pawning the thing off. It was like I had to go out and ask for it, almost kind of beg to use it. So it was kind of, and that the guy didn't want his. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive he didn't want, for the longest time, even his identity to be revealed. It was like he took this thing and took the photograph. So when I found out it was possibly hoaxed, I've heard that so many other times with cases that I'm familiar with that it really makes me wonder. It was like suddenly, the Air Force coming out saying, "Hey, Roswell is just the Project Mogul," or the McMinnville, Oregon photographs are debunked, or the Santa Ana. I've even had people tell me, "Oh yeah, those Santa Ana pictures, weren't those debunked?" So I'm suspicious, but do we know for a fact that he's the one that shot it and then debunked it, later debunked it? Because as far as I knew, the person who shot it didn't even want their identity revealed. So if someone just came forward now and said, hey, I shot that picture and I'm debunking it, how do we know that guy really did shoot that picture?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Good point. Also, the Oliver's Castle footage of the orbs supposedly creating a crop circle, initially that was debunked as being done a very elaborate hoax by someone, with a background in video effects and post-production. But then years later, I think last year, people are starting to look at that film again and say, well, wait a minute, how do we really know that this is not a real film clip? So, yeah, that's hoaxes are really, now with the technology the way it is, the technology is making
that guy down, and he just was totally anonymous.
Yeah, and with the technology just leaping ahead of us in leaps and bounds, this is going to become more and more of a problem.
If we knew definitively the photograph originated, I'm going to throw a random name out there, from John Doe, and we all knew John Doe. There was a face to the photograph, and and he paraded it around the world, and then 10 years later, his conscience got the better of him and said, "Hey guys, I'm the same. It's the same face that's been on the photograph. Really sorry for what I did, but I faked it." That would be one thing, but in this case, it's not that cut and dry, You know
what's cut and dry is telling you this. We've got James Fox. These segues, they pay me for this. We have James Fox of the Chasing UFOs TV show. You're on with Gene and Chris. You're in
the Paracast.
The GCN Radio Network, providing the world with hard-hitting talk radio. GCN. Great talk radio starts here.
Graphic Converter is the image manipulation tool for the rest of us. It does not use any database. You get full control of all your files. Want to view the images of a folder? Drag it into Graphic Converter, and a powerful browser opens up to show your image files. You could use it for slideshows. You could use it to import images from digital cameras or from scanners. Need to do some image editing? You can do that too in Graphic Converter. Also print catalogs. Convert from so many formats I can't even list them. Download now to see if Graphic Converter is good for you, like 1.5 million other users. Guess what? You could save money when you buy Graphic Converter. Use the coupon code Night Owl. Use the coupon code Night Owl to get a special price for Graphic Converter. Go to lemkesoft.com. That's LEMKE soft.com. lemkesoft.com. LEMKE soft.com.
If you owe the IRS money you can't pay, then listen carefully, because you already know that the problem won't go away by itself. You can get help today from the leading tax expert in the country, Dan Pilla.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. The IRS isn't going to just forget about you. Right now, the IRS is hiring thousands of tax collectors to go after delinquent accounts just like yours. That's why you need to take action today, and I can help. I take a simple but proven approach to solving your tax debt problem. First, I stabilize collections so you don't have to worry about wage and bank levies. Next, I build a detailed plan to get your debt reduced to the fullest extent possible, sometimes even eliminated. Finally, I work with you every step of the way to get your problem solved once and for all. So call now for a free consultation. Call 1-800-346-6829.
Dan Pilla will solve your tax problem, guaranteed. He's helped thousands of people, and he can help you too. Call us today at 800-346-6829. That's 800-34-NO-TAX.
Survival is not about the end of the world. It's not about a hypothetical plane crash or the latest violent storm. Survival is about the satisfaction of knowing you can take care of yourself and your family in any situation, anytime, anywhere. CampingSurvival.com was started in 1956. No, not the .com part, the survival part. CampingSurvival.com has over 17,000 urban, wilderness, and preparedness items. Supreme customer service, very low no shipping, and no games. We look around to make sure we have the lowest prices, and CampingSurvival.com is 100% USMC veteran-owned. Don't base your survival on the latest spring-up on the internet company. Do business with an authority on survival. CampingSurvival.com. Use coupon code GCN at checkout, and CampingSurvival.com will take 5% off your order. CampingSurvival.com. Confidence born of preparation.
Now at DeseretFoodStore.com, sign up for a 1-month supply of delicious food for only $99 with free shipping. That's right, only $99. Gourmet restaurant-style meals with a 30-year shelf life. Packaged in heavy-duty Mylar bags for easy transport and freshness. Meals like stroganoff, lasagna, teriyaki, 5-bean chili, granola pancakes, and much more. Visit DeseretFoodStore.com, spelled D-E-S-E-R-E-T, foodstore.com, or call 801-444-1444. Food for now, food for life.
37 things to hoard. Do you have the 37 crucial food items you can't survive without? When disaster hits and mobs go crazy grabbing food off the shelves, your family may be without food or waiting in long food lines. Prepare now at 123survivalplan.com. That's 123survivalplan.com. Many people don't have these 37 food items. Learn what you need to hoard now at 123survivalplan.com. Watch the video over 1 million people have viewed to discover the 37 food items that will sell out first when disaster strikes at 123survivalplan.com.
Hi, this is Don Ecker, and you are tuned in to the Paracast. Let me tell you what, you're going to hear stuff here that you probably won't hear anywhere else. Hear that, George Snorri?
I want to tell, by the way, our friend James Fox, he should keep his day job. But I'll tell you, he's got an interesting day job because it sometimes includes nights where they go out together, he and his fellow travelers, on chasing UFOs, and they look for things at night because it looks good on film. You know, you've covered a lot of the material that we will see for episode 1. Now,
haven't you guys ever tried to sell a used car? Don't you want to show it to the potential buyer at night so he doesn't pick out all the imperfections?
You know what? It's funny. I'm the kind of person who doesn't want to bother with that. I did it once. I sold my son's well-worn Honda Accord that he had wrecked 16 or 20 times or something. You know, it was put together pretty well, I think, and I got a decent amount for it from somebody who was a friend of a relative, and that's the only time I've done it. I don't have the time or energy to go through that, and so I just prefer to go to the dealer and pray.
So you go out selling a used car. I'm starting to get your flavor a little here. Okay.
It's hard enough to sell advertising for a radio show and for a website. I am not a salesman. I don't play one on TV, in a reality show or otherwise. Okay, episode 2 is Dirty Secrets that I got to look at. And this one, you've gone to California, Fresno, Sacramento, etc. What were you in search for?
Well, we had reports. I initially had reports. I contacted a gentleman named Jeffrey Gonzalez, really well-connected, very enthusiastic guy in the area. And he put me in touch with a couple of people. One guy named Justin, there's been these reports. I'll back up for a second. There's been a lot of reports in the area of these triangular-shaped, silent craft. I think they're roughly the size of a football field that maneuver silently in the night sky and rather slowly. He showed me some rather impressive video footage, I must say, that came from a couple people in the area. And one person that he put us in touch with, named Justin, a former military guy, who captured one of these things allegedly crashing into a hillside. And there appeared to be, according to the witness eyewitness testimony as well as the video footage, some sort of recovery operation going on at night, which I found really interesting. On top of that, it's fairly recent, too, in the last couple of years. On top of that, there was an older case in the area from a guy named Officer Amparano, and he had a close encounter of the second kind. He had kept all of his original gear, his medical records from the hospital, the local news stories. He kept everything, which was a very, very impressive case. And so I pitched the idea of going to California. As a matter of fact, we were putting together ideas for California and I think Ohio. And we got more good stuff out of California. And to be honest with you, I mean, I only live just a few hours away from Fresno. I live about an hour north of San Francisco. So I was kind of shocked to think that there could be this activity going on in my backyard and I didn't know about it. You know, and when I got there, while some of it seemed a bit prosaic, other parts of it didn't. And so it was a rather interesting episode.
Now, in this case here, did you encounter any evidence of Men in Black presence?
No. And when we first got there, we were kind of making fun of Jeffrey a little bit because he kept going on about, every time the witness captures something good on video, there's these white vans showing up at their house, and they seem to be under surveillance. And, Jeffrey's a great guy, and he's got a great sense of humor, but there was a tone of seriousness to him as well about this. And some of the other witnesses were pretty sure they were being followed. And it's one thing to hear about these stories. When you go and meet these people, and they're real people, and you think, well, he certainly seems sincere. Maybe he's a little paranoid, but he certainly seems sincere. And while we were there for a week, we had a couple of white vans show up, and they, of course, played it up and stuff, but we did. And but who knows who they were? It could have been coincidence. It could have been we were being looked at. Who knows? But we were definitely poking around.
Now, when you do these shoots, do you announce to the locals that you're going to be there, or do you just show up?
We announced to some locals that we're going to be there. You know what I mean? We don't want to make a huge scene, more than we already do when we show up. But so some locals, we have a scout that goes out a week in advance, secures locations. If we need any permits to access, we generally get those. And, kind of find out about availability and shoot locations and stuff. Because when you got a big crew, lots of gear, you don't want to be out there just kind of fumbling around. You want to have everything kind of set. So usually in a week in advance, we send out a skeleton crew of people to secure locations, permits, that sort of thing.
Do you get second unit footage, things like that, before you do the actual visit?
You mean review some of the UFO footage? Or?
No, I'm thinking in terms where you do some pre-shoots before your full crew.
We'll have someone send photographs, just literally take simple digital photographs and send for location spots. Yeah, we do that. But in terms of video footage, no. But a lot of times if we have some eyewitness who captured something intriguing on camera, we want to see that. And a lot of times they'll send us a low res and we'll take a look at it. Some of it's quite impressive. Did you guys see the California episode?
I saw part of it, then I ran into a problem with my computer's DVD drive. So I've seen half of it. I'll have to see the other half either, shortly thereafter, and hopefully get DVDs of the rest of the episodes. But I got into number 25 minutes, I think, and then I had to restart the computer, and then there's dust. This is Arizona. There's a lot of dust that gets inside those slot-loading DVD drives, and every so often I have to clean the thing out. So I will. Wow. Not an excuse, folks. This is true.
Okay. Not some big conspiracy and Men in Black came and shut your computer down or anything like that?
Shh.
You can't handle the truth.
Keep your day job. I don't think Imitations does it. I don't think Rich Little will feel he needs to be replaced anytime soon.
His first mistake turned out to be his last. How's that?
You can't handle the truth.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of... Forget it. If we try to do this, the listeners are just going to leave us in droves. They'll listen to Brand X, where they don't hear any really good interviews.
No, good band, Brand X.
That's right. For future episodes, can you give us, in the remaining segment, the bill of fare? What will we expect for episode number 3? I assume they're all in the can now, right?
Yes. Well, we talked a little bit about Virginia. We went to Arizona, and we managed to track down, which is really cool, we managed to track down a gentleman who shot the only footage I've ever seen of what appears to be a very large boomerang-shaped object flying overhead. And the interesting thing about this was I knew about the footage, and I featured a little bit of it, and I know what I saw, but I didn't know who shot it.
James, are you referring to the Phoenix Lights, the famous Phoenix Lights, March 17th?
No, I'm not. It was shot 4 or 5 years earlier, 93, I think. But it's in the Phoenix area, and it's of a very large boomerang-shaped craft. Okay, so the footage I'm referring to is we managed to track down the guy behind some footage that appeared sort of somewhat mysteriously. No name attached to it, no witnesses. You hear, voices from the people who shot it, but that's it. And the footage is impressive, but somewhat inconclusive because without someone describing what was seen with the naked eye and the experience prior to getting the camera on, you're kind of left going, Well, we managed to track down that guy, and we did an interview with him, which was quite impressive, actually. Footage taken in 1993. That will be featured in an upcoming episode. I think it's going to be aired on the 20th. What am I saying? On the, it would be the following week. So that'd be like the 7th, 8th. I'm not sure. You have to look up on netgeotv.com. But so we have the Travis Walton case. We went and revisited.
Don't rely on us for the dates, by the way. Just go to the site. And we have it linked to the Paracast.com. There's a direct link to the show's page. This way, there's no question about finding the episodes that will interest you. You'll see what's upcoming from there.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
I'm trying to make it easy for everybody. Don't forget, neighbors, you can also find us on Twitter. That's where we are. We are the Paracast on Twitter. So send us a tweet if you have some comments to make about the show. Just a click away, and we have one more click to go. James Fox of Chasing UFOs is joining us. With Gene and Chris, you're in the Paracast.
America's #1 source for independent talk radio for over a decade. We are the GCN Radio Network.
If you want to get your website online and you need reliable service, first-class service at the lowest possible price, there's only one place to go. Well, DreamHost has a special promotion with our show where they'll offer you unlimited disk space, unlimited bandwidth, one-click web apps such as WordPress, 24/7 support. You can save over $55. You want to know how? Go to dreamhost.com/radio, dreamhost.com/radio. Whether it's personal mail, whether it's business email, you want reliable, dependable delivery, freedom from spam, freedom from viruses. Well, Polaris Mail offers professional email hosting services for your personal or small business use. Each account uses 25 gigabytes of storage, an easy-to-use webmail interface, and full mobile sync. Sign up today for a 30-day free trial at polarismail.com, polarismail.com.
We want to know, how do you use WebEx?
Smartest thing my company did was to give us WebEx. I'm in sales, and now I get twice the meetings, close twice the business, and make twice the money. I guess I should say thank you to the folks in IT.
The new free version of WebEx Meetings lets you take your office anywhere, your desktop, laptop, or mobile device. Get your free WebEx Meetings basic account now at webex.com. WebEx from Cisco. WEBEX.com. Webex.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
For a long time, you've heard me talk about building your own food supply with eFoods Direct. As a listener, you know why you need to have a supply of the best storable food on the planet. Every day, we document the attempts to take control of our lives. But there's one thing we can all control, your greatest dependency, food. eFoods Direct products are made with only the best ingredients and none of the trash and contaminants like trans fats, GMOs, or MSG. This food is nutrient dense and tastes great. It's simple to make, portable, and has a shelf life of up to 25 years. Now with eFoods Direct, you'll get the most affordable, best tasting food you can buy. And the new products and pricing will blow you away. Compared to other food sources, including home-cooked meals, you can cut your food cost in half. You just can't afford to ignore this. Call 800-409-5633 or go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex for specials. Don't let this offer pass you by. Call 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex. More of the best for less, guaranteed.
Healthy soils grow healthy plants. So before you plant your survival garden this year, is your soil healthy? Maximize your crisis garden soil with EM1 from Terraganics. EM1 organic soil conditioner, fertilizer amendment, and compost accelerant provides healthier gardens and faster, efficient garden composting. EM1 from Terraganics.com quickly improves soil structure by increasing nutrient availability and converting organic matter into soil humus. This improves seed germination and root growth, improves plant quality, size, color, flavor, nutrient value of fruits and vegetables, and improves shelf life. And when rain is not in the forecast, no worries. EM1 improves moisture retention in soils, helping reduce drought stress. Just like you prepare all else, prepare your crisis garden for maximum yields with EM1 from Terraganics.com. Order now at TERAGANIX.com or call toll-free 866-369-3678. That's 866-369-3678. Terraganics. Life's getting better.
Hello, this is Rosemary Ellen Guiley, and you're listening to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio.
I think we're being possessed on the Paracast, ladies and gentlemen. James Fox has possessed the entire show, and he's currently possessing 1/3 of Chasing UFOs. And as we've mentioned before, he has two partners, Aaron Ryder and Ben McGee, and they do riding around the country looking for UFOs. And we talked about an episode that will cover things that are happening in Phoenix. What other episodes can we look forward to? Let's maybe have a summary of a few more.
Okay, we've got, we went to Mexico, Chichen Itza. We had a close encounter with a creature in the forest.
Whoa, stop. Where'd this happen?
You know, it's funny that we were in Chichen Itza, and we actually got access to the place entirely on our own at night for like 5 hours.
So this was a specific place in that city where things had gone wrong or things had happened.
Yeah, Chichen Itza is an ancient Mayan city that is at the end of the Yucatan Peninsula, right outside the city of Merida.
Okay, that geography lesson now, what did you guys see?
So it was really funny. When we got there, first of all, we rented the place out for, I think, 5 hours at night. It was incredible. I got to hike up El Castillo, which is the four-sided pyramid that the Mayans built for the feathered serpent that apparently descended from the heavens and shared with them all kinds of secrets and whatnot. And it was just incredible to have the opportunity to walk around on that and investigate. But one of the Knights Guardsmen wanted desperately to show me something. And he showed me this photograph that he had taken in the daylight. And he was just, he's just a groundskeeper. And it revealed what appears to be a creature looking over one of the walls. It looked like an alien kind of thing. And it was rather interesting, actually, to see. But so we're out there, like, poking around the forest, and this, we find out later there's all kinds of poisonous snakes out there, but we stumbled upon with infrared.
You find out later that really is the unkindest cut of all.
Did I give away what we saw or no?
You know what? We obviously want people to watch the show. Why don't you give us a hint? Enough of a hint where people will actually want to see the show. I understand the marketing here. There's a lot of marketing on the show, and we want to create a little bit of suspense. Say whatever you want out here.
We came across something alive that would have been extremely very dangerous, let's put it that way. We captured it on FLIR. That's another really interesting thing, having those instruments out there under the cover of darkness. You pick up things out there, I mean, the forest is teeming with life that you don't really see with the naked eye. You suddenly have night vision and infrared whatnot, and,
Well, remember, night vision goggles were from alien technology, right?
That's what Corso would say, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started about that.
I knew you were going to say that.
All right, so you see the creature. We'll have to wait for the episode. Where else did you go for this first season?
I'm sorry. We went to Brazil. We went to Mexico. We went to Florida. We went to the Everglades. We went to Cape Canaveral. We went, obviously, to Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, I think, and California.
So basically, so you have a lot of places to go to that you haven't gone to yet, and we have to hope
yes,
that
we have a lot of places we want to go to. And I want to do more international stuff.
Okay.
And like I said, if the show does well, I'd like to shed some light on the fact that, a lot of Americans think that this is a phenomenon that happens primarily right here in America, and it's sort of secret military craft. But it's not the case at all. I mean, these things, there's some amazing cases that happen in Africa and other parts of South America. I believe Italy's kind of a hot spot right now.
Yeah,
Turkey.
China. There's the largest UFO group in the world. There's a million people.
What the heck is going on in China? Australia, New Zealand. Yeah, so I'd like to shed light around the world. I'd like to continue to do that.
Yeah, they just launched the first Chinese woman astronaut, I think last week, and as the rocket was leaving the atmosphere, a couple of UFOs showed up and shadowed it for a ways, and they got it on film from, I think, the Gobi Desert. They had a camera array that was filming it from the side, and were able to get some visual data.
Wow.
We know everything here. Nothing happens that we don't hear about. I don't know that we have listeners in China. I know we have listeners in Europe, in Australia, in New Zealand, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know that we're in China, but I kind of suspect we are.
Yep.
Well, if anyone out there has any, if you don't mind me saying this one more time, if anyone out there has any good cases, photographs, evidence they'd like us to pursue, please, with sugar on top, go to my website, I Know What I Saw, themovie.com, and contact me. I do get back to everyone. Sometimes it takes me a little while, but I promise you I'll get back to you. I Know What I Saw.
I've got a bunch.
And does anybody else have any information on that sighting over the Chinese airport? Do we ever figure out what that was?
There's quite a bit of stuff out there if you do a little research. There's quite a number of people that have looked into that, and there was actually three sets of sightings over Chinese airports during the time period. But I think you're referring to the first one, which was the most notorious one.
Yeah, it apparently shut the airport down.
Yeah. I'll dig into that for you. I do have a little file on that. I'll shoot it your way.
And, of course, we've got the O'Hare incident, which I can't believe we haven't had more traction on. Can you imagine? I know there's a photograph of that UFO because I got a hold of the FAA tapes in the tower, and I can hear them mention the photograph.
Well, did you check the NARCAP site at all?
No,
because I believe they have some information there.
I'm sorry?
There's an organization called NARCAP.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with NARCAP.
Right.
Yeah.
They, I believe, have some information there.
Okay, all right. Cool.
That's the National Aviation Reporting Center.
Yeah, Richard Haynes.
Richard Haynes on
Richard
anomalous
Haynes,
phenomena.
and then there's Peter Davenport with, what's his organization called?
The National UFO Reporting Service.
Okay. NICAP?
Not NICAP, NARCAP, which
sorry,
is,
right, okay.
if you go to NARCAP, NARCAP.org, National Aviation Reporting Center on Anomalous Phenomena. We've had Richard Haynes on the show, so, we do know these people.
Right.
So that might be one place to check. I can see now that you guys could do this show for 10 years and barely cover the service. Are you going to focus on any of the side issues, such as disclosure, such as what the governments may know or not know, or focus strictly on the case histories?
One thing that I'm already pushing for, call me crazy, and I have to figure out a way of doing this.
Excuse me, you're crazy. You're now called crazy.
Yeah,
crazy like a fox.
You wouldn't be a first. But I would really I'd like to go to the Hill and talk to members of Congress and bring with me the highest-ranking military officers I can get my hands on and go out there and say, what's it going to take to get this story out, sir? What's it going to take to get congressional hearings? What's it going to take to rattle your cages enough where we can actually, get to the bottom of this?
Well, just bring John Alexander along. He's the ex-head of non-lethal weapons technology development. He should be able to put the fear of God in these guys.
Well, it's also really neat, I think, this whole initiative that he just started about, amnesty.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
That kind of an interesting angle.
That's a twist of amnesty, which is give amnesty to E.T.
Give amnesty to the military witnesses so they can come forward without fear of prosecution or anything else.
Right. Sure. We'll send security oaths after 30 years or something.
Is that what it is?
Well, that's just an idea that maybe you could put a time frame on it.
I'm talking about even before that. But, I would like to. Hey, man, I would love nothing more than to really use Nat Geo to, get access to areas that I can't normally get access to.
Tell our listeners in 30 seconds or less about chasing UFOs.
It's fun, entertaining, informative, and I think an interesting blend of characters in pursuit of good, solid evidence from good, solid cases from around the world.
And by the way, folks, you can also check out Chris's updated OurStrangePlanet.com. We are the Paracast on Twitter. And also, you can check us out, forum.theparacast.com. James Fox, thanks for joining us on the Paracast.
Guys, thanks so much for having me on.
The Paracast, featuring Gene Steinberg and Christopher O'Brien, is a copyrighted presentation of Making the Impossible, Incorporated. Tune in next week for a new adventure in The Paracast.